Here we are running into our underground moon base where we do all of our research. Absolutely, we have an underground moon base. How's everybody feeling tonight? Welcome to Underground Crypto, the show where we bring topics that are going to raise that crypto IQ and hopefully make you a better speculator in the market. Nothing is ever financial advice here, though. So if you need a financial advisor, as I always say, go find one. That's your own business. But if you want to raise your crypto IQ, focus on some education, then you are in the right spot. There I am. How's everybody doing tonight? Talk to me, people. Talk to me. You will see that we do have a super chat goal of 5 super chats tonight. It has been quite some time since we hit it. We've had some great efforts, and I appreciate everybody. Let's see what tonight will bring. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. Sometimes it's hard to get people to turn out on a Wednesday. So if you're here, pat yourself on the back. You are being super consistent. And this is BTC's 4-hour chart. As you can see, there's a pattern there. It almost looks like it might be forming. Can anybody tell me what that pattern is? And let's go ahead and do our introduction, and let's talk about what we're going to talk about before we talk about it, all right? This week series is Onchain Market Wars. And the idea is that a lot of things are moving on-chain. There's a bit of a rearrangement, if you will, about who owns what and who gets to control what, and therefore there's a little bit of a war over it. Some of it has to do with regulation, some of it has to do between companies, right? So yesterday we talked about not polymarket, prediction markets. Polymarket's one of them, of course, so is Kalshi. You know, there's many there, and there is regulation war going on there. There is who's going to own the space war going on there. You know, stocks, or not stocks, sorry. Why did I say stocks? What I meant is like sports betting. You know, they're trying to keep all of that polymarket stuff very much out of their territory, and I don't know how they're going to do it. Monday, we talked about tokenized stocks, right? And Tuesday, we pivoted to those prediction markets. Prediction markets turn real-world events into tradable outcomes. Tonight, we move into another major piece of this on-chain market war, which is AI agents, agentic networks, because AI agents are not just chatbots anymore, right? We are moving well past that. They're starting to become software that can act. I've talked to so many people about this, both in crypto, outside of crypto, and it is very interesting to see where people are about it. And it's also very interesting, the people who have the more knowledge of it seem to have one opinion, and the people who kind of are your normie, regular retail has really no idea other than what circulates around, you know, the classroom, if you will, you know, the talk on the street, the word on the street. They have a very different opinion, right? And they can research these AI agents, they can call tools, they can compare options, they can make payments. Shout out to the X402 protocol. That narrative is still alive and well, and I'm amazed how many people I talk to who are genuine crypto people do not know about it. So we are early on that one. They can interact with wallets, they can potentially trade, manage strategies, and participate in DeFi. So tonight the question is not just can AI talk about markets. The real question is what happens when AI starts acting inside markets, right? Tonight's topic is AI agents are becoming crypto traders, and what happens when the market is predominantly AI agents? What happens when it's more or less like a bunch of AI agents trading amongst themselves and against each other? It's going to get really wacky. And how will a regular human stack up as far as speed and smarts and maneuverability with data and in that kind of market? It's going to be really interesting. Are we going to have maybe some advantages in certain places, or are we going to be very much at the mercy and not able to compete? Is it going to get to the point where if you don't have an AI agent running your portfolio, you're just going to get washed? Quote of the day: the real problem is not whether machines can think, but whether men do. Ah, man. And even though it's old, that's B.F. Skinner. I wonder how many people really take the time to think about that. It's not about are machines smart. It's not about can AI agents do this, that, or the other. It's about are people going to stop thinking and rely so heavily on technology that they don't really know how to do anything. And here's a great example. All right, calculators. Calculators came out. The ability for people to do math went down drastically because they relied on calculators, but they didn't always have one when they needed to do math. And so a lot of people couldn't do simple arithmetic any longer. So I asked earlier, there's a pattern here. Could you identify what potentially is going on? And very much looks like what's going on. Inverted head and shoulder, right? And an inverted head and shoulder is very much a reversal pattern. That's why when you get a pump and then you see like an inverted head and shoulder, it's kind of weird to me, because the inverted head and shoulder should form more in a dump. Not saying it can't happen, but it is more of a reversal pattern for the downside, where inverse, your head and shoulder pattern, is a reversal pattern for a pump, right? So it's the same idea, just flipped upside down, inverted. That's why we call it an inverted head and shoulder. I digress. I think most of you guys know that. But anyways, on the 4 hour, it's hard to not think that that's exactly what's starting to play out here. Now let's zoom in. We were above the 200 on the 4 hour, and that was seeming pretty awesome. And I was like, look, we're holding it. You know, we held it for some time. That was kind of cool. As we zoom in here, I mean, it's hard to kind of miss. For me anyways, I definitely jumps out at me. Shoulder, head, shoulder. And you got the dump just like you were supposed to. Now it seems like you're kind of bucking up a reversal pattern here on the 4 hour. Hasn't really like filled out all that much. This is not a technical analysis channel, so don't feel like we're going to sit around and do this all the time. We are going to raise your crypto IQ with education. We're going to look at all kinds of different stuff, but we also are pretty well rounded. So I'll get rid of that kind of ugly drawing and draw it out a little bit better. Kind of seems like you're getting that continuation pattern for the bears. Could really tighten that up. I don't like to use the Weex, but there's your measured move. And that kind of pretty much sends you right back down to this volume of liquidity area. And if we were to pull a Fibonacci, you know, that gets you very close to the 786. Also definitely gets you golden pocket, right? Gets you past the golden pocket. Let's see if we can get that perfect, right? So here's your golden pocket area. You definitely look like you could get down there. So you could look at all of that. You could pull the fib. You could look at the continuation pattern. You could do all of that stuff. For me, I'm more life revision in the way that I just want to look at that 200-day moving average, right? Is the 200-day moving average going to hold you down? Are you going to get back above it soon? It's kind of everything for me. Let's drop to the 1 hour, because the 1 hour is also quite interesting, right? So for the 1 hour, you can see we're right on that 200. We haven't lost it on the 1 hour. And you might think because you lose it on a higher time frame that like that means you've lost it on all the time frames under it. Not always the case. And that can take quite some time to understand for sure. I'm still working on holding all of the different time frames in my head and understanding it myself. Right now, I'm in more of build, you know, bags in the bottom of the bear market mode. There will be days when we trade perps again and things like that. But as of right now, I'm just worried about building bags. And yes, I do really want to talk about lab. I do have that right here. Flash it for you. We will get to that in just a second. Who's all here tonight? Let's see. Oh, Blues Guy. What's up, Blues Guy? Welcome in. Welcome in. Shout out to Melissa. I can see that there's quite a few people here. Throw us a chat. Let us know you're here. Maybe you're watching on your TV. Smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. There is a link to our free Discord in the chat where we pretty much hang out when we are not streaming. Melissa says, happy to see you. Was thinking about you yesterday and today. I love that. And I love that he showed up. Blues Guy says, gratitude is recognizing divine blessing, maintaining a grateful heart regardless of circumstance, and finding joy in daily life. That is gratitude to God. Camsta says, Ayo, welcome in, Camsta. Always good to hear that name come through the chat. 00 Zoe, are you out there, my brother? Welcome. We're just kicking off this stream. Reliable J, I hope I get to see him on the stream sometime soon. You know, just trying to think about some people because they tend to show up when I think about them. And of course, Prime Minister. I mean, there's so many. If your name didn't get called, it'll get called next time. No worries. So basically, if the 1 hour loses this 200, normally I'd be thinking about shorting. Again, right now I'm not worried about none of that because I'm just trying to build bags until probably December. Till December, I'm just looking to buy spot bags because there's a good chance that that is going to be kind of the mark of the end of the bear market, the bottom, if you will. I do want to say this here on the 1 hour is look at this big gap. It does have this one point in the middle where, you know, that could kind of stop a fall. But for the most part, it's not crazy to think you could come back down to this 58,600 region there. But of course, first we got to see if this volume here can hold us up. And if the bear market's not over and we're going in bear market all the way into October, November, December, then this makes a lot of sense. But we'll have to see. Maybe they just gave you a little dead cat bounce, a little hype rally. Let's talk about Lab. Because what happened? Let's go to the daily chart because I guess that would make more sense. Kind of starting to believe Lab could be cooked or this is the best time to buy it ever. Lab's on the radar tonight, guys. Let's dig into it, see what we can find out about it, and see if we deem this a complete rug pull. See what we think about it, right? Is there FUD? Is there really any news around it? Is there like a huge whale that just crushed the project just out of how much he owned? Like, what is going on, right? Big over-the-counter sell-off or something? I don't know. Is there a real product? Is there demand? Was this all inflated? That's very much what I want to talk about. But before we can do all that, we got to kick off with our segment, What You May Not Know. And when you hear this segment, you know we're about to really get into some sauce in the crypto bubbles immediately after. You may not know this, but AI agent payments are already becoming a real crypto infrastructure conversation. CoinDesk reported that the crypto trading and investing firm KeyRock estimated AI agents settled over 73 million across roughly 106 million transactions on blockchain rails between 2025 and 2026. AWS, Amazon Web Service, is also, this is key, guys, this is sauce. I hope you guys pay attention to what I say because it might do you well. AWS, Amazon Web Service, which is how Amazon actually makes all their money, also introduced Amazon Bedrock Agent Core payments. Now, what do you think that is for? Think about this. Amazon, they make a lot of their money through their web services, right? The servers and everything that you can buy the ability to use, basically. You're renting server space and power, right? Well, they decided that this was important enough, and Jeff Bezos, call him what you want, he's a bit of a visionary, right? He had a vision for Amazon, worked on it for 20 plus years before it was ever really anything. Amazon Bedrock Agent Core payments. Now, why would they do that? And it's built with Coinbase and Stripe. So Stripe being a processor, Coinbase, we know who Coinbase is, describing it as infrastructure for agents that can transact using payment identity, gateways, observability, and payment tools. AWS specifically describes Coinbase stablecoin infrastructure and X402 as part of the stack for agents that move money at software speed. So here's kind of my thought here. AI agents. Everybody's going to want one. And in the world of trading and things like that, as long as we don't have any black swan events that are caused by an AI agent or whatever, as long as the sentiment is everything, right, is up on AI agents, trading bots can be integrated with all of that kind of stuff, right? Following me? How is that all not going to move on some kind of rails of payments financially? Setting trades, taking trades, settling them right when you cash out. That money's going to have to get moved somewhere. X402 protocol, Amazon Bedrock Agent Core payments. This stuff is going to be important as far as positioning yourself to where money is going to flow and matter. And that matters because this is not just an AI token hype story. It's becoming a market infrastructure story. If agents can pay, trade, access data, call APIs, and interact with DeFi, they become a new kind of market participant, right? And so here's another thought that I have here is let's start thinking about what we would want to see in the space that we would jump at as far as something that would make money. So if we had, for example, and I'm just drumming off the top of my head here, if we had an AI agent project, right, that maybe ran trading bots and then it used a certain amount of money on the network, the fees that run through the network, and it burned them. Like, say it burned 10% of everything that ran through it. That'd be super bullish for the coin. So we start to almost like the same concept. This might go over little people's head, but this is what we're here for, to raise that crypto IQ, right? If you burn a coin, that's really good for tokenomics. And there's other things like buybacks and things that could be really good for tokenomics as well. Just like in technical analysis, how we project what we might be looking for before it shows up, we can do the same thing, hypothetically, theoretically, in projects and things that we want to see as far as structure, how they go about buybacks and burns, what sector they're in. And again, an example of this would be to say AI agent project that has payment rails, that's integrated with different things, maybe has a buyback or a burn integrated. I would look at that and I would say, what type of the market are we in? And we would look at a couple other things, and it could mean let's go. And so keep that in mind. Never financial advice. Cryptic Quentin in the house. He made it to another show. Welcome in. Welcome in. We're taking a look at a lab here, and actually would like to, back up to maybe like an 8-hour chart here. So what I really want to say here is I've been watching this for a while, and I never actually bought any. It went as high as $27.94. Wow. When I first talked about it, I don't even think it was 50 cents. I made a reel about it. I think it might have been around 50 cents. Talk about some returns. I didn't buy any because I review a lot of coins. I can't buy every single one of them. I always make the Pokemon reference. You can't catch them all, right? Anyways, I noticed that we had this big rally. We pulled back, right? Right here we pulled back to 850, 860. We pumped again to 1560. Nice return. Dropped, gave you another entry around $6, $5.92, and then you had a nice run up all the way to $20. It dropped again, gave you about a $10.50 entry, and then it ran all the way and kind of double topped here at about $20.80. Maybe you call it $21, right? And then we had this big dip down to $5.16, right? Almost kind of ranging. And then it pumped from $5 and, call it $5 to about $18.50. The point here is there's good volatility. It was going up and down and up and down. And when I saw this thing again fall down to about that region there, I think a lot of people thought it was going to keep going, and it just didn't. It just kept dropping. So the question is Lab dead? It's certainly oversold on not even the daily. The 8-hour, I'm sure the 12-hour hasn't curved yet, but the 8-hour actually has kind of bottomed out. You're way under the 200, very far away from the 21. We're going to look to see if we can find some information about it, right? We're going to look to see if maybe we can find somewhere where somebody's saying, hey, so-and-so rug pulled. Hey, just anything that we can find, because everything, in my opinion, is about sentient. It's kind of even like meme core, right? What is the sentiment around it, so that we can see if it's possible for it to come back. If everybody says, hey, it rug pulled, so-and-so rug pulled it, it's over, it's garbage, then I wouldn't expect that thing to pump back more than just a slight bounce, right? So that's one of the ways that I want to think about this and maybe do a tiny bit of research. Maybe we'll ask ChatGPT. But with no more delay, let's go ahead and move over to the crypto bubbles. And let's start there as we begin to kind of analyze this market, right? There's so many different data points. There's so many different things that we can look at. Technical analysis is definitely one of the better ones. But even the crypto bubbles and things, they tell a story, right? This is a digital representation of data. That's what you really need to focus on. And when you understand how to find the data that you need when you need it, where it lives, and how it's best represented, that you can quickly understand it and move on, and you work with that for a while, that's a big way to raise your trading IQ, but also your crypto IQ. Anyways, let's toggle that 1 through 1,000 right away and take a look. What do we see? Nothing but red. And looks like about 2%, 2.7%, 2.9% actually the highest in your 1 through 1,000. But if you were to average these 1 through 1,000, I would say about 2% or 1.9% would be your median, right? If anybody remembers that from math class. And I was never a math whiz, but I'm getting better and better every day the more I study these crypto markets because I'm looking at data and numbers all the time. I digress. My point is, first we kind of look at the overall market, and to me, the top 1,000 projects is the basis of the entire market, especially in the bottom of a bear market. Now we come into the 1 through 100. We want to look at these red bubbles. Beat down 10%. It was down a bit yesterday. Jupiter down 11.6%. What is Jupiter even at? Jupiter at 21 cents, right? And again, I'm looking at spot buys for the bull run that I'm hoping is coming. To me, that's where the money is made. In previous markets, I just want to put this out there as a thought, never telling you what you should or shouldn't do with your own money. I've watched people try to be geniuses, time everything, in and out of the market, in and out of the market. Sure, I love to mess around and trade some perps and things like that. But the core of my positions have always been held long term because I've seen the other guy. You know, you have the one guy, he's trying to trade perps and he's not holding any spot bags and he's trying to make it some crazy money up until the end of the market, the end of the bull run. Then you have another guy who just built spot bags at really low prices and he just held them. That guy always not only wins, but he always makes a significantly larger amount of money. That's my observation. It's not true for everybody. There's always an outlier. There's always somebody who bought crap coins, didn't make it, who was long term, and there's always somebody who was in and out of perpetuals and stuff like that who was just well-seasoned vet. He's an anomaly. For the most part, that's what I've seen. Anyways, let's move on. Akita, you can tell I'm on fire tonight. I want to talk about a lot of things. There's a lot of things I want to go over. It's Wednesday. That doesn't slow me down. I know a lot of people have a lot of stuff going on, working this, that, and the other, but I got to carry the team and we got to stay up vibes and learning. 13.4% on the daily. Akita Inu. I mean, it's got an Inu after it. It's got to be a meme coin, right? I mean, is that fair? Can we do that? I love that you have the quick access right to CoinGecko. I always talk about what I like with certain platforms. Crypto bubbles, that's what I like a lot here. So they're actually migrating from an old contract to a new contract. If I didn't click on this, I would not know that. So this must be the old contract is kind of what I'm gathering here, right? Maybe this is all the people moving their money out as the coins leave to a V2 or something like that. I don't exactly know. It's a meme, so that was a fair assessment. It is on Ethereum, and let's go look at their website. The OG Ethereum dog. Before I go any further, I want to go to the max chart, and I want to look at when this thing came out. All right, so this actually does help. This is why we always look at data, because this project, as far as I know, is not very old. March 18th, 2026 has recently migrated from an old contract to a new contract. This post, what I want to know is what is the old contract and what is the new contract? Like Akita Inu, is that the new one or the old one? So what began with our 5th anniversary mascot and brand upgrade in February, followed by a launch of our new website, now continues with next structural steps. Going forward, the project will simply be known as Akita instead of Akita Inu. So if we come here, this is Akita. So this is the new one. Makes sense. If they're having like a 5th anniversary, that means at least 5 years they've been around, and I don't have 5 years of history here. So now that we know that this is the newer contract, let's take a look at max supply, circulating supply, fully vested. Market cap only 1 million dollars. I don't know how that plays out with how much liquidity was in the original one. And because this is a meme coin, I'm not going to go super deep unless somebody out there really wants that sauce. But I do want to have just a generalized information and knowledge about what the heck this is, because I'm live on YouTube and somebody might ask me a question and I want to be prepared to give them an answer best I can at any point. Let's move along. Those are the big negative bubbles. I don't see any big green bubbles. I wouldn't expect to on a day like today. Let's drop down 100 to 200. Lab is kind of the big story, even though it's not. It's really funny. I made a reel about Lab a long time ago. Lab was like 50 cents. It just came out. We were doing our due diligence. I really want to get back to doing those kind of reels. And it still gets views and people still comment on it. And it's just been funny because today I got several comments because it's like done. Somebody, commented, can this thing ever recover? Another person commented like, it's rug pulled, it's over, like that kind of thing. But before that, when it was up there at like $20, $18, and you saw it went up and down for quite some time. So there was a lot of pumps there where people got excited. People were coming in the comments and being like, oh, you called this thing, like you told, like, oh, look, it was 50 cents, we could have bought it, the usual hype. And I just think it's funny to watch how quickly when it dumps, they're just like, this was a rug pull and was a crap coin. I hope you understand where I'm going with that. Gwei down 20%. I like Gwei, but I'm not really understanding what's going on with the price action and the sell-off. You just got to be careful with a lot of these coins, especially when you're building spot bags, that you don't get into something too speculative with too much money too quickly, that you make sure you're kind of dealing with serious projects. Unibase. So was another one of, and at the time when Reliable J talked about it, it was pumping hard. But Lab, same thing. He talked about Lab, I think it was like maybe $3-4 when he started talking about it, and then it went to like $20. So he does a great job at calling coins, but he's not saying you should hold them forever. I don't even think he held it forever. I think he sold at some point. Anyways, I'd love to ask him. Grass down another 10%. What is Grass down to? 38 cents. Like Prime Minister said the other day, Grass, they finally did their little payout for everybody who's been mining with them, using their extra bandwidth, and I think most people were pretty pissed about how low of money they were given, and that's how you screw a community, and the community will turn around and tell you to screw off, basically, to try to use the same analogy there. And I just don't think it was worth it for Grass. I bet a lot of people stopped mining it, and I might even be one of those people. We will see. I do like that I don't have to do anything and I never notice it. So if it generates some kind of money, I'll take it. But we'll keep watching that. Jito down 13%. Monad had been pumping. It's down 7%. See kind of an inverted head and shoulder there on the daily. That's just the day chart, the 24-hour chart there. Could just be a nice pullback. It ran all the way to a high, not high, but 2.5 cents basically. Shout out to Melissa who holds some Monad. Velvet. I don't really know a lot about Velvet, but it's done some pumping, right? It's up 570% over the year. Look at this thing. It went to $1.89, call it $1.90, and we're back down at 40 cents. This is where you start looking at these things, and you have to go maybe jump into, like, is this project really sold off and it has great tech and stuff? Like, here's a good example. Here's a great example. VVV, Venice Token. I've been told by countless people they have great tech, it works great, they love using it. If I see that thing do one of these, I'm going to scoop a bag because I know it has good product. When it comes to Velvet, when it comes to Lab, I don't exactly know how good their product is. And if I remember correctly, Lab had both a launchpad and a decentralized exchange, but you have to keep up with the integrations. We're going to get into that. How many people... If I made the members only stream today all about deep diving some of these coins, how many people would show up? How many people have a membership and would want to show up? I could do some of it in this stream, of course. But I think most people here have a membership. We could do it more focus group, right? Anyways, Lab down a lot is the takeaway here. DYDX up 8%. ApeCoin up 12.7% to about 16 cents. Let's move along, drop down. We only usually go to 2 to 300 here. All right, so our green Unify AI, that was up quite a bit yesterday. Let's look at this thing on the weekly. Yeah, it pumped, and then it had a pullback even with a great entry. There's no way this is not. I could just look at this and say, man, that's 786 territory right there. Great buy, textbook, and then it just ripped. And that would have been from 30 cents to 41 cents, even spot. That's a decent move. Melissa says, I can't tonight. Totally understand. Totally understand. Maybe I will. That it really just gave me a good idea for some videos to make. Can Lab ever recover? Is it worth it? That kind of thing, right? We're going to walk down that lane. So look out for those videos. I'm going to at least do one on Lab. Velvet makes a lot of sense, and maybe Meme Core. Those three would be really cool, and I'll probably make them separate videos, right? So quantum resistant layer, down 11%. Basic attestation service, BNB attestation service, sorry, down 10.5%. Chip dot AI, is that what it is? It's USD.ai. I don't know why I feel like I have to give you the tickers off memory, but I can. 8.6, Tagger 21.4%, Banana 31, 13%. Things are getting hit in the market. Let's refresh this, make sure we have the latest number, do our rundown real quick. So here we are, 2.22 trillion, down 1.8%. I've been saying it, the overall market cap lately has been like up, down, up, down, up, down, almost like it's ranging if you were to look at the overall market cap, which is a chart we could definitely look at, whether that is with Bitcoin or excluding Bitcoin, or even excluding. You have, what are they called? I'll come back to that. There's three different charts. One is everything, total market cap. The second one excludes Bitcoin but has Ethereum and stuff, and then the third one excludes both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Anyways, Bitcoin is $62,145, up 4% in the last 7 days. You guys feel free to tell me if I talk too fast, the music's too loud, the microphone too hot, not loud enough. I can adjust all those things. We want to get that out of the way early in the stream. Now, Ethereum, $1,737. Ethereum up 8.5%, doing well against Bitcoin right now. I bought most of my Ethereum around like between $1,850 and $1,900, so I'd be slightly underwater here. But yeah, I would love to see this actually drop more over time and hit a bottom in the bottom of a bear market. Give me an entry where I could maybe scoop a whole Ethereum. That would be cool. BNB, $568. XRP, $1.09. Solana, $77.79. Just chilling, barely under 78 bucks. Tron, 32 cents. A lot of green on the 7-day. I do like to see that. Even though we pulled back a little bit, we're holding pretty decently. When all of these 7 days start turning red, that's when you know maybe farther drops are afoot. But we're not out of the water right now. We are in a bear market. Hyperliquid, $67.75. Dogecoin, pretty close to a flat 7 cents. And don't forget who's been here with you through the bear market, right? When all of these new cats want to pop up and make a video and act brand new, who you've never seen or you haven't seen since the last bear market, bull market, that's what I mean. Zcash, $464. 12.5%. Cardano, 16.5 cents, up 10%. And 7-day XLM, 18 cents. Monero, $318. Chainlink, $7.61. Chainlink price getting pretty low there. Canton Network, 12.5 cents basically, or high 12 cents. I'm liking some of those prices for Canton. I don't hold a bag of any Canton that I can remember. I don't think so. And I would very much like to start scooping some. So if we can get Canton down under 10 cents, that might be a go button right there, even if it's just for a day. Graham, Toncoin, $1.58, only holding a 1% gain on the last 7 days here. Hedera, barely under 7 cents. SWE, 71 cents. As I always say, anything under $1 for SWE to me is good, and I'd like to scoop up some more SWE. Meme Core, and this 7-day percentage up or down can be slightly deceiving, right? because you have a really nice pump, right? Meme core was up like 85%. Even I think like yesterday. But now enough days have gone by that that's kind of baked into the percent, and you're not really seeing that huge move anymore because it's only a 7-day average, right? So as that pump gets 7 days away, it almost becomes irrelevant to the 7-day average. You do have to kind of dig deeper into their chart. Let's go to see what's trending. Thank you, Melissa, for letting me know that you are not available. Camsta says BTC low-key pumping. On what time frame, Camsta? On what time frame? Because I've been focused super zoomed out, right? Cash Cat. I always get so upset that I don't catch these gains, but I don't know why I do, because I don't live in this world of pump.fun or meme coins and stuff. Cash Cat. Up like a number I don't even know. I mean, I do know. It's 98 million. It just makes, if you see this and it doesn't make you kind of want to cry, just thinking about 98 million% returns. I mean, a dollar could make you a stupid amount of money. That's all I'm saying. 50 cents would have made you half of that. Now, of course, you are talking about buying perfect bottoms. It is super risky. You're more likely to lose before you ever actually hit anything, but seeing those kind of returns is insane. And I don't even know if it's accurate, okay? Because this says on Max chart, it's only up 1,700%. Only 1,700%. Short every pop, says Camsta. Up to the 200 on the 15-minute at least. DCAing the like button. Appreciate you saying that, Struggleheart. Struggleheart, yesterday we talked about what was going on with Bonk. I'm sure you saw it, but you saw what was going on with Bonk, right? We talked about it. We covered it, both news story and chart and all of that jazz, right? Anyways, this Cash Cat has 97 million in it. I don't know who they got together to pump this thing, but my goodness, it did pump. And the only thing that's really going to do us any justice here is to come to the market cap. This has given us July 30th, 2026. So very recent coin. You move right along here. Before this really important pump, you were chilling at between 8 and say $14 million. And then the next thing you knew, it was 100. So let's go to the 7-day chart and see if this is even over 7 days. I doubt it, because we're here daily. Come on, 7-day chart. Okay. Can we do a 24-hour chart? What is happening? Nothing is happening. All right, let's refresh it. Of course, when you hit refresh, all of a sudden it's like, no, I'm right here. Okay, let's go 7-day. And you'll see this is where, to me, it looks sketchy. It goes from 14 to even first stop 93, second stop. It basically goes from 14 to 125 million, and it's too fast. It's too fast to me to be very organic. From the 7th to the 8th, so like within a roughly 24-hour period, you have over $100 million injected into this project. That sounds like somebody's trying to cash out on you. Very kind of terrifying, and it went as high as 100 and almost 40, 139.8, call it $140 million, like in like 24 hours. That's insane. And who would believe in a meme coin kind of thing that hard? Here's the sauce. Here's the sauce I didn't think about. This is on Robinhood. Where's the Prime Minister? Somebody get the Prime Minister in here. I need to talk to him. I'll definitely be sending this to him. It's being launched somewhere. Where exactly they're being launched, I don't know. But wow. It definitely banged really hard, and we might want to look. Is it a one-off? Are we going to see more of these? Here we are, Yonky.fun Launchpad. Is this the launchpad to watch? Okay, but I want the actual launchpad, right? What's up with that? I click on the launchpad. Okay, yeah, take me to the launchpad. All right, that's annoying. Why isn't there a link to the launchpad here? Maybe we could go this way. Robin and categories, and we will just randomly deep dive into stuff, right? So know that that's a possibility. So the Robin ecosystem is here, and we don't need to sleep on it because that is not how you deep dive and research sleeping on coins here. Where is this Robin Fun? Is that their pump.fun? And you can see how new this is. There's not a lot of projects with a lot of money here. Cash Cat is like number 4 in the ecosystem, and that's basically including 2 stablecoins, so it's really number 2 in the ecosystem. How did all this money flow into this? When I see this, it looks exciting. I wish I would have got in early, but people gonna get hurt. That's what I have to say there. Some people gonna get hurt there, but I'm trying to find the exchange. What was it even called again? We have this Robinhood Fun. Is that their pump.fun? We have tokenized stocks going on here, which makes things really kind of, here it is. Is this the launchpad, or is this just a random coin? Okay, this is the launchpad. Finally. How hard was it to give us this? Okay, so it seems like that Cash Cat, and I'm going to leave this up. I'll put this in the group and stuff. You might want to join that Discord group because that's where a lot of these links and things go that we deal with during the channel. But this Yoink, or Yoink, I think is one of them, right? Like you're yoinking a coin. Let's go to the trenches here. This seems to be where you might want to launch a coin. Like right now, if you're going to launch a coin, this might be where you wanted to do it. Very interesting. Let's go. I think trenches is where you want to be, but markets might make more sense. So you can kind of see what are the top ones going on here. 46.63. I don't know why that would be popular, but you can see Cash Cat got it all. Everybody kind of agreed Cash Cat was the one. Tindies. It's just not even close, right? Cash Cat has 101 million, the second best. Oh, we need to toggle. I really want market cap. Yeah, don't give me volume. I want market cap. So yeah, you go from like 100 mil, 95 mil to like 3.5 mil and everything under between. So don't think that anything Robinhood is going to pop, but at the same time, understand that Cash Cat pretty much soaked up everything. I was thinking about just launching a random meme coin for the heck of it, just for the fun and the, just for the practice, I guess, and the understanding, the knowledge that comes with actually doing something. And I guess I'm going to do that over here. So I'm going to leave that up, but that is what's going on with Cash Cat. And as soon as I saw that it's Robinhood, it's like, oh, duh, new ecosystem. People are launching coins on it. Somehow, collectively, a bunch of big groups say, hey, this is the one. And they put a decent amount of money in it. And then people just run it up. So you kind of have to ask yourself a question here, right? Because I want to do my best, and nothing is ever like 100%. But to break down some of the understanding behind maybe some of the groups that do this stuff, what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. So let's just highlight this area here. And let's just try to think for a minute. Because raising that crypto IQ, I think, is what we're all here for, to be able to catch some gains. So if they went from 14.8 million on the 1900 hours, July 7th, right? That would have been, 3 hours before it turns July 8th. You can see right here it hit July 8th, and it was already at 92. So this thing moved like in the dead of night, right, for most people. And it seems maybe even a little Asian market, right? Wouldn't that, Cam, still where you at? Wouldn't that be Asian market 1900 hours to about, you know, the next day? And then by the time you were in July 8th, you were already at 92 million. So the fact that it was this coordinated makes me think that it's a small group of people who have some serious pockets. So let's assume, and I'm just walking through this in real time. I did not set this up in advance. If you're a group and you're going to pump a coin, what is the point? It's crazy percentages, crazy gains, and get retail and other people to run in so that you can take their liquidity. Now, if you just run it up and then you immediately dump it, you're just playing, you're kind of just playing with your own money, right? You want to give it time, like Lab is a good example. Like, you want to give it a good amount of time where people can, one, start to believe in it, time for it to get exposure, time for people to put money into it, build up that liquidity. You see what I mean? All of this different stuff before you dump it. Because if you just blow it up here with your own money and dump it, you're just putting your money in and taking your money out. The profits, I don't think, are very high. So I would not be surprised if this thing has another extreme rally, if this thing goes to 200-300 mil, just because it's like the coin. It is the coin for Robinhood. And I wouldn't be surprised if they let it, you know, they could let it go to $1 billion, or they could just let it go to like 200-300 mil, and then they can pull their money out, double their money if they, you know, depending on how big the group is. Because you got to imagine these are a lot of times coordinated groups. To me, for them to just sell it now doesn't seem like they'd make a lot of money, but I don't understand all the royalties on the launch pad and stuff like that. Maybe they're making a ton of money off royalties. Just trying to think my way through it so we can start to understand what exactly their game is here, so we can understand where we fit in the game and where we don't. I wish I had a bot or something that would have saw this thing jump from 14 to 40 to 56 and been like, you know, buy. Anyways, I digress. Let's keep moving here. It's going to be a long show. I can feel it. Let's see. Lab, Pudgy Penguins, Bitcoin, Uniswap, Solstice, Cardano, Aave, Stellar, Canton Network, Pearl, Arrow, Drone, Solana, Lighter, and Bonk. Bonk we talked about a bunch yesterday. They had just a legal takeover, basically, where somebody bought enough Bonk, $4.4 million worth of Bonk, and basically... Oh, okay. Well, Stregahart says, I haven't really paid attention to this week. Then I have news for you. Bonk had a takeover, right? Somebody bought 4. I'll lay it out since he says he hasn't really looked at his bag of Bonk. Somebody went to the DAO, bought $4.4 million worth of Bonk, so they had the 1% amount of money to get something, say, passed. They put up a DAO where basically... You know, the proposal was send this much money to, you know, this wallet, which was about $20 million worth of Bonk. And then they were like, and we're now in charge. And they basically passed it themselves because Bonk's DAO probably didn't have a lot of attention, didn't have anybody safeguarding it, didn't have any safeguard against it. And so they basically took over Bonk. And they took $20 million. Now, why they only took $20 million, I have no idea. They could have took 340, I think, is about what the liquidity is there. And who knows? They might have some plans. They might be taking more money here real soon. But Bonk is very heavily in question. I don't see any other coin here that's really worth going over. Let's go to that Fear and Greed Index. Let's refresh it so we have the latest numbers. 22 today on the Fear and Greed Index. It really has just been threatening to move out of extreme fear into regular fear, right? Yesterday was 20, 7 days ago was 19. A month ago, remind you, was 9. So are we seeing that dip to very low? We already had it. And then we get to start moving up, or is this going to be a range that we're in for a while? up into like fear, just barely back into extreme fear, and just range there for a while, just like we would look at a range on a chart. Let's go to trending coins, make it the top 20, not the top 10, and let's see what the heck is going on here. Mantra. That is a coin we all should pretty much know. Age 0.4 of a year. So again, there's Ohm, which I believe was the original ticker. Then they went Mantra. Then they kept both coins. And I don't even know what's going on with that project anymore. But it is trending, and that just means people are searching it on CryptoRank. KOR Protocol. Let's see what's going on. Struggleheart says, sounds like I just need to get more. Hey, conviction is amazing. I don't like the person who said it, right? Because it's George Soros. But he did say one time, or I guess several times, that if you like something, you can't own enough of it. Seems like you like bonk, so maybe you're following a similar strategy. KOR Protocol, right? What is that? It's in a funding round. KOR Protocol is an on-chain creative asset clearinghouse. When you hear a word like clearinghouse, we talked about this the other day, providing infrastructure to register, route, and settle digital intellectual property on Base. I've said this many times, as we're really low in a bear market, who's building? A lot of projects are centered around facilitating services for institutions. That could be managing keys, giving, building infrastructure on ramps for them and the things that they're used to, like a clearinghouse, right? That's not usually crypto language. And I've just noticed these are the people who are building right now. So do you think all of these people are building all of these projects for clients that don't exist? Or do you think that a lot of these people, 7.5 million invested in it, right? Do you think a lot of these people have some kind of forethought for what is coming, who the target audience is here in crypto with the big money, and are building something for a very specific reason? And is there a reason why a lot of these projects all serve institutions? Because that's where the big money is, and they see it coming. That is just to heavily speculate, right? Ant.fun. I wish I could see how long it is, but I guess it's less than a year old. Let's see what's going on here with their token. Yes, this is what I thought. We looked at this before, but there was no token. So this thing generated a token on the 8th of July, 2026. That was 2 days ago. It is at 63 million in market cap, all-time high 65 million. Ant.fun is a mobile trading terminal and wallet that integrates decentralized aggregation, perpetuals trading, social discovery tools. This could be one to keep an eye on. Again, this project would really need a deep dive. Oh, they recently migrated from an old contract to a new contract. They used to be ticker A and B, and now they're ticker Ant.fun. I don't know how much that matters. I guess we'd have to go look at this A and B to know if maybe they've actually been around for a long time. Because to me, it was looking like a newer project that had only launched like within 2 days ago. A and B. Sometimes projects will come out and then they will quickly find something like a ticker that they like better, and they'll quickly change it. And you almost won't even find any history of them ever being the other ticker. Okay, so we looked at it here. I don't see any history there. We'll pull it up here and see if we get anything old. Okay, but there's no information. Let's go take a look at it. There's no chart. So to me, this seems like it is a new project, just using the information that's here, right? New project. They very quickly changed ticker. There was really no price history here. Let's see. This is a 1-day chart, 7-day chart. Yeah, you got nothing. Seems like they were maybe launched for a day before they decided to change their ticker. I do like when they do these kind of things early on and not way later, right? Not like 3 months, 4 or 5 months later, and then they try to do this. It's better they do it right away. So I'm definitely seeing some videos that need to be made about some projects right now, and I'm going to get to that pretty much immediately. Gitbook. Okay. Let's go look at their Twitter. Yes, we are leaving CoinGecko. And we want to do our analysis. We haven't done our Twitter smell test on a project in quite some time. So here's how this works. 318,000 followers. Launched out of Hong Kong. So we start to build an image of the company and the project in our mind. Nothing wrong with them being out of Hong Kong, but I'm in America. I don't know how well anything that they do funny business is going to hold up to anybody being held accountable, right? It is the wild, wild west here of the internet. So that already makes me go, I don't know if I'd want to go all in on something like that. Big news, Ant.Fund's social wallet has secured $5 million in strategic funding. Okay, but $5 million is not particularly a lot of money, but it's a good amount to build with some devs and stuff. It got 21,000 impressions. It's from June 22nd, so it's been up for a while. It is pinned post. It seems like big news. They supposedly have 318,000 people's attention. Remember, followers, attention economy. They have 318,000 people's attention on social media, and you're telling me they're only pulling 21 people who got to see it? Now, we have to keep in mind that they are completely at the mercy of the algorithm of social media. And so that, I don't know how many points, as somebody who also is very much at the mercy of the algorithm on Twitter or X, I know that it's not friendly to crypto and crypto projects at all. Matter of fact, shadow ban, keep you from getting much exposure is pretty much the name of the game. So I'm not surprised they only have 21,000 impressions. KuCoin, it's a repost 33, Mexi repost 11. Attention seems dry. No gas, no friction. A lot of times not having any gas on a chain or something like that can actually be very problematic because it makes you open to easy attacks. 8,000, 10,000. I'm not seeing high impressions here that would impress me. It is very new, so a lot of people might not know about it. And the question is always, with this pin post here, big thing, did they pay any money to get this exposed? Because in my opinion, they should have. Anyways, that's a bit of a beginning breakdown for that coin. We're not going to go too much farther into that. These pop-ups on Crypto Rank. I got to say something about them every time. So let's go back and let's see where the website is. Telegram. No real website. So to me, that's kind of like hit with some points right there. Because like, where's the website? And now this is where we could get deep, and we're not going to. So everybody, hold your breath. I'm not about to read all of this. I'm just going to read like the first little paragraph here. Ant.Fund is the leading Web3 social trading wallet designed for major blockchain networks. It combines wallet functionality, real-time on-chain insight, advanced trading tools, and social trading features into one unified platform. With Ant.Fund, users can discover market opportunities across major chains, track wallet activity, share trading insight, communicate with other traders, and execute trades efficiently in a social-first Web3 environment. You know I love me some Web3. Hit you with the disclaimers. What makes it Ant.Fund special? Leading Web3 social trading wallet. Key features. This is all I really need to see right now. Web3 social trading experience, wallet support for major blockchain networks, trading activity, so interoperability, activity trading, sharing, community-based market discovery, integrated chat, and communication features. Nothing about that necessarily seemed revolutionary. But what we're looking for a lot of time with these is like, does it have the potential to be that mobile app that everybody jumps on? It's like finding Robinhood before it was Robinhood. If it was a Web3 on-chain project, we're going to move on from Ant.Fund, but I really did want to give it a fair shake here. EDX Markets, we do know this to be, I believe, a decentralized exchange. I could be wrong. Hold on, let me hold my thought. Yeah, clearinghouse. So again, another project. EDX Market, before I get ahead of myself, is an institutional digital asset exchange combining an execution venue with a central clearinghouse for traditional financial firms. So, why? Why would they build something unless there was interest? There are people who are connected, who have intel inside institutions and places with big money. They know where those people are moving. They know what they're looking at. They know what they're looking to invest in. And they know what those institutions and things are looking at to be the next wave in finance, right? And they raised $76 million. So not only did the people behind EDX Market dream up all of this, have a clear vision, right? Like, nobody wakes up, in my opinion, one day and says, we're going to make an execution venue with a central clearinghouse for trading financial firms. That's somebody with some understanding of how things work. That's not a random thought you wake up from a dream with, right? And then on top of it, they put it together and they pitched it to people, serious people, like Pantera Capital and things like that. And they got $76 million in funding. So think about that. Think about some of these projects you look at. You know, all these VCs, they see in everything that comes out, right? Sequoia Capital, another one. And so why are they putting money in this versus not other things? And what do these VCs, you just got to think about the hive mind a little bit of a lot of these venture capitalists and stuff like that, kind of as they all put their heads together, because I'm sure in some respect they bounce things off of each other, even if it's between firms. And they're saying, hey, what is the clear thought here for Pantera and Sequoia? Central clearinghouse for what am I talking about? Bitcoin. Central clearinghouse for traditional finance firms is a go. That's going to make money. Now, they do throw money at a lot of things, but in my opinion, they tend to put more money towards things that they have a higher stake in. Let's see. Okay. And I'm not going to claim to perfectly know how all of these things work, but we have different rounds. This is a seed round, a Series C funding round, meaning they've had two before, and then they raised $76 million from SBI Group. But how come they're not on the list? That's what I want to know. This is where we get into other little places here. This is all about diving deep. If you're in this channel, it's about raising your crypto IQ and becoming a better investor. This is such a great time, in my opinion, in the market. Everybody's looking at the charts. This is, in my opinion, where the money is made, right? So that's why we're locked in. That's why we take the extra time on certain things here. So SBI Group Corporation, obviously they make their money investing, right? Top investments that they've made were like Canton Network. So it looks like they're big in Canton Network. So we could even go down the rabbit hole of different venture capitalists and stuff and looking at the picks that they've made and they've won. I wouldn't always be impressed because a lot of times they throw money at a lot of things, right? What I'm mostly, they have a portfolio. I like that. What I really want to see is how much money they gave, because we're getting this $76 million raised investor lead SBI Group, but then when we come to funders and backers, we're getting different companies. So I'm wondering who really put up that money. But the main takeaway is somebody, or collectively, they're thinking $76 million is a good start here for a, clearinghouse for institutions. Why? M1X Global. M1X Global is an RWA platform issuing this USD M1 tokenized sovereign debt instrument backed by U.S. Treasury and institutional markets. Okay, so it's a debt instrument because they're buying U.S. Treasuries. That's what I gather right away. Their coin is going to be USD M1, right? And the company is M1X, so it's going to be, it says an RWA platform, a real-world asset. Is that just, and I'm thinking out loud here, guys, is that just pertaining to the stablecoin itself? Being a real-world asset kind of thing? But they've only raised $5.5 million in a seed round. Not even a funding round, but a seed round. Oh, man, I keep messing up here. And the backers here, you have to have like multiple before you get this little extra thing that shows you the tiers. I just wanted to know what tiers these are in. I know I'm going a little deep tonight, guys. How you guys feeling out there? How is everybody? Do you like the way that I'm doing the show? Do you not like the way I'm doing the show? All right, that's what I want to know. Point here, they're in funding round. They've only raised $5.5 million. Stablecoins make their money off of fees. So there's that. There's this Mercado Bitcoin. I never know how to say it. I feel like I'm saying it like you would say Bitcoin for Bitcoin. I feel like I'm probably just saying it terribly. It is a Latin exchange, right? Centralized exchange, digital asset platform offering regulated trading, banking, and RWA tokenization. Everybody rushing to tokenization. That's why the series this week is called On-Chain Wars. There are emerging markets and merging markets, if you understand what I'm saying. Emerging meaning new markets, and merging meaning markets that are old coming into new perspectives of how it would run, right? Web3, blockchain technology, tokenization. And there's going to be a fight for the people who own the old infrastructure to the people who are going to own the decentralized infrastructure. And you're seeing a lot of players pop up. It's very interesting. Usually what you're going to see is a lot of these big companies just they're just going to buy their competitors. That's how this usually goes. And a lot of people create these companies really hoping to just rub the feathers a little bit and get one of these big conglomerates to buy them, right? That is a lot of their end goal. They've raised $58 million, and I guess they're believing there's a lot of money in the market of the Latin America. And it's a centralized exchange, so I mean, like, there's nothing crazy you need to know. It's operating as a core subsidiary of the 2TM group. I don't know who that is. That would be worth looking into if you wanted to go all in on this whenever there's like an actual coin, because you're probably not a registered venture capitalist or angel investor or corporation for that matter. So only a tier 4, and they've raised $58 million. Very interesting. Somebody thinks that they've got a winner here. It's a centralized exchange for Latin America. I don't really see that being super relevant. We have AISA. ALSA. Okay, it's an L, not an I. 6.5 million raised here. What is it? ALSA is a unified API gateway for payment networks, enabling AI agents to autonomously transact for large language model and data using stablecoin nano payments. And what do they mean by nano payments? Let's go over here and see if they have an X402 protocol. Oh, there it is, X402. An open source protocol, says by Coinbase. So notice that Coinbase is getting like all the credit for X402 right now. It's because they've acknowledged it and they've been building on it, right? Although X402 protocol, or just, it's not X, there's no X there. It's just 402 protocol, right? HTTP 402 protocol, right? Came out in like 1993. Although that is like some old internet infrastructure, you still have to take it and build and do something with it, right? It's not like you could just run all these AI agents and Web3, all this stuff, just like organically through it without ever changing it. I don't believe that is the case. And if that was the case, I don't think you'd have the Amazon Bedrock agentic network payment, whatever that was. I don't remember it exactly, right? But yeah, I don't think they would take the time to build anything if the infrastructure was just there. My point is, although this HTTP 402 protocol has been around since 1993, the idea of it, the basic bones of it, Coinbase is really the champion here. Seems like Coinbase was the one that had the forward vision to say, hey, AI agents are going to need this micro payment processing Rails, ability is going to be a big deal, and they're way ahead of it. And I guess Amazon caught wind of it, I guess, too. Or really, it seems like Coinbase and Amazon are in it together, and that makes me really bullish. Why am I saying all that? I don't really know how much sometimes you guys are picking up of what I'm saying, but the reason why I'm saying it is because if you are going to build any kind of portfolio or add exposure in your portfolio to X402 protocol narrative, in my opinion, Coinbase, Base, the layer 2 on Ethereum seems to be where those are going to pop off. That seems to be where all that attention is going to be driven. I don't think, unless it's an outlier, I don't think all of a sudden like X402 protocol narrative tokens on BNB are just going to suddenly be hot. I think it's going to be on Base. That's the sauce I'm really trying to get you to focus on. Anyways, this is interesting. They've raised 6.5 million. I don't know that this has anything to do with Base, right? But it does have agentic networks and all of those things in wrap. Also enables your agent to search SEO keywords. One key every API your agent needs. This is very interesting. I really am looking, I wish I had so much more time, on digging into a lot more about like using Claude, how to get tools integrated. I was going really hard on it and I got slowed down by life. That happens as I try to expand a new leg of my eBay business in automotive parts. I've been kind of doing all my research over there. Slowed me down a bit. And then I was building, this is just random for anybody who cares. I was building my game show and things, right? Or an integration into our show that was going to have kind of almost like a game show kind of vibe to it. And Grok decided that it would just forget my entire chat. So shout out to Grok. No point in building with Grok. And then it's funny because Grok doesn't want to store any history of your conversation with it, which has messed me up on several occasions. So how could you build using something like Grok? And then they turn around and launch like their coding, part of Grok where like you could write code with it, right? And it's like, why do that? Because if you were building a project, especially with code, and you were using Grok, and then 2 weeks into it just forgot your conversation completely, that is garbage. Like, that is straight garbage. And don't forget that, like, to use it, you pay for it. So I pay you. Keep a freaking history of our transaction. It just made me so mad because I was really getting to wrap that up, and I was kind of where I wanted to be. Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, had a few more steps I had to kind of build out and get some things right. And then it just forgot my entire chat. So now I'm on my own, and now I have to know how to code a streaming bot by myself. And yeah, thanks. Now I got to start over. Thanks a lot, Grok. So I just want to throw that out. If anybody gets into those spaces and you think like, I'm going to use these things to build an app or code something, just stay the heck away from Grok, because it'll forget your entire conversation 2 weeks in it. You better do it in one day. You better code that whole app in one day, because Grok will just completely forget your conversation. I digress. Interfold, we talked about this yesterday. Says it was previously Enclave. Enclave is an open source protocol for coordinating various actors and composing the various components. I know this does get a little bit technical, everybody. Welcome in. And there's probably some nuance here, and people are probably, their brain is pounding from all the stuff we're talking about, but just stick with it. Seems like a good time to take a pause, and let's talk about our show for tonight, right? You thought that was the show. There's a show within the show. If you don't know, we're trying to raise that crypto IQ. And sometimes I like to bounce in between things so we can break stuff up, right? I do want to say this. When I first started watching the Crypto Lifer, everything he said to me was gibberish. For the most part, right? I'm over-exaggerating, but like, I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. Technical analysis, inverted head and shoulders, measured moves, 200-day moving averages, Fibonacci. I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. But something about it told me, hey, this guy is the real deal. I can tell. Because it is me bragging on myself. You believe me, you don't believe me, it doesn't matter. I'm a random guy on the internet. I'm very good with people. And being able to tell who is a shyster and who isn't. I could tell he was very genuine, basically. That's my point. And I decided I'm just going to keep watching him until this stuff makes sense to me. And it took some time. 3 months, 6 months, a year. And that kind of mentality of like, I don't really get it, but I can tell there's something here. I can see that shimmer of gold. And I'm just going to lock in until it makes sense to me. Can get you some serious places if you can tell if there's value there. That's where it gets tricky, because you could also just watch somebody who's full of nonsense for a really long time. Anyways, we're going to digress from that. We're going to move into another topic. We're going to talk about the topic of the night in our series of on-chain markets. The problem. We always start with the problem, because That is what solutions are built around. Solutions are not built around no problem or everything's hunky-dory, running smoothly, and then we just need to create a thing to solve nothing. So there has to be a problem. For most of financial history, markets were built around human decision-making, right? That has been the norm. A human reads the news. A human checks the chart. You've heard many times that technical analysis chart is a reflection of human emotion or a measurement of human emotion. That's what you're really looking at on a chart because it's speculation, and speculation usually is very heavily tied to how people feel. That's emotion. Human checks a chart, they read the news, a human calls a broker. This is old school. Human clicks buy or sell. Human decides to risk a certain amount on a take, right? When the algorithm entered the market, the idea was still mostly that humans designed and strategy and machines execute with a narrow system. So what we're saying is here originally, it was that humans were going to design strategies and the machine was just going to execute it. Well, AI agents kind of changed this conversation altogether because they're flexible. We can put them in swarms. We can run multiple different strata. It gets really complicated. The only barrier to entry here is computational power and AI resources, right? Because an AI agent is not just a tool that gives you an answer, it takes a goal and works through many steps. A lot of times you don't see it. That's abstraction. Keep that in mind. It can gather information, it can compare data, it can go gather information from places that you would have never thought about looking. That is really the sauce here. It can call external tools, it can interact with software, it can potentially make payments, X402, and if connected to wallets or exchanges, it can eventually execute transactions. We're already there. If you link your APIs, you can already do that. That creates a completely different kind of market participation. Not just a human trader, not just a bot trading, but a software actor that can actually reason, pay, and act. Now, really moving forward here, the question is, how good can it reason and act on that reason in a timely manner and not make a wrong decision and just buy a useless meme coin that it thinks is getting hype on the internet and it's not, right? So the shift here. Shift away from the problem. That is why crypto matters in this conversation. Crypto markets are already digital. They already run 24/7. They are global. And they have APIs already. They have wallets. They have smart contracts, DeFi protocols, stable coins, all the mix for the recipe already there. And they have it all on-chain data. They have permissionless markets. They make crypto one of the easiest places for AI agents to become an economic actor. And I really don't know that AI agents would really be as big of a thing if it wasn't for blockchain technology. This permissionless 24/7 smart contracts with things built into it. That is very much the layer that makes AI agents so powerful. Think about AI agents for a moment, if you can, without blockchain technology. Like, just go back to 2008, 2007, 2005, when we didn't have none of that stuff. What would they really run on? How would we have the ability to program them and make them move the way that they do? It's a good question, but luckily we don't need to do that because we are here. The AI agent doesn't need a physical bank card. It doesn't need to walk into a branch. It doesn't need to wait for market hours. It doesn't need rails that software can use. That's all it needs, right? I said that wrong. It needs rails that software can use. Wallets, stablecoins, smart contracts, permissions, spending limits, settlements, transaction logs. These are all things that you would program, right? That is why AI Agent Story connects directly to the on-chain market world. The market is not just changing who trades, it also is changing who trades. It's not changing what trades, it's changing who trades. Okay. We're not just changing asset classes from traditional finance to crypto. We're also trading humans for agentic networks. That was the point they were trying to make that I messed up. But the payoff, right? If AI agents become market participants, and it's more like when than if, the upside is easy to see. They could analyze markets much faster, they could manage portfolios, they could find inefficiencies very easily, and they could automate boring tasks. They could pay for data, they could route trades, they could interact with DeFi protocols, and they could help users operate in markets that never sleep. but the risk is just as important as all of the potential upside here. What happens when the agent makes a bad trade, right? Who's accountable? What happens when it gets manipulated? Because don't think that somebody's not going to understand the way that they think and find a way to exploit them. That is always the name of the game. What happens when many agents follow the same signals, right? So you have swarms of agents, whether they're collectively meant to be a swarm of agents or somebody creates a trading bot, it gets really popular. Normies have access to it and can easily use it, right? Maybe it's an app. Maybe a big exchange like Coinbase puts together this section on their app, on their phone app that's bots, right? And it trades a certain algorithm and people put their money into it. And now you have 4 or 5 million people potentially, probably wouldn't be that big at first, maybe 1 million people running this bot at the same time. You can imagine that much money moving in a very similar pattern all the time, algorithmically, is going to be predictable in some manner and therefore exploited. If it's predictable, it can be exploited, right? What happens when an agent creates more volatility? That would be the volatility, right? The predictability. What happens when people trust an AI trader that is really just a hype token with a chat bot, or it's just Telegram app integration? That is the lesson tonight. AI agents may become important in crypto market, and they absolutely will. I don't know how they don't. But the crypto IQ move is not to assume AI equals profit. As a matter of fact, I'm quite weary of AI managing portfolios and stuff until it's well tested. The crypto IQ move is to understand the infrastructure, the limits, and the risk. And again, even talking about like Coinbase, because they're gonna implement these type of things. If you really followed everything they were talking about in their big press release of them going into this super app kind of idea and all the things they had in mind, hence they did mention X402 protocol. There's a lot of things there. If their bot messes up with your money, how hard is it going to be to hold them accountable? What if their bot has a major glitch with a majority of people's money and it benefits them? How are you going to hold them accountable? It gets weird. It gets weird real quick. And just like anything in investing, the saying always goes, I'm not the one who made this up, don't risk more than you can afford to lose, especially in a new arena like AI agents and bots and stuff like that. And there are plenty of exchanges and things that have integration with bots already, but they're not like agentic bots that I know of yet. Anyways, we talked about Enclave. We're going to bounce back here. I do like to try to break this stuff up. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully you've smashed that like button. It's the simplest, easiest, freest thing you could do for your boy who's out here just brainstorming live and going through everything for you. I don't know how to create more value, but every day I'm trying to figure out how to create more value. The idea that I've learned the most in business in general, and eventually you have to know that this is a business, right? Even if I do it for the love of it, because I'm not making money on YouTube really at all right now, but it comes in time, is that you provide value first. That's my point. If you build it, they will come, but they come because you gave value first, right? Boardwalk. This one looked interesting yesterday, but I don't exactly remember what it is. Boardwalk is a protocol for launching and participating in on-chain markets. A protocol for launching and participating in on-chain markets. Let's get deeper. I like to get deep on a Wednesday night when nobody's really paying attention. I don't know why. It just seems to line up that way. Boardwalk is a protocol for launching and participating in on-chain markets. We've read that 3 times now. Hopefully you got that in your brain. In one place, you can create and launch, join an auction, claim tokens, provide liquidity, and take part in governance through BWS. Launches happen under visible rules with locked liquidity built in, and a portion of protocol fees is directed by stakers each week. It's all coming back to me. I remember reading this and thinking about this. Right off rip, my thoughts are they're a launch pad and they're trying to establish some kind of way to give people some kind of guarantee that they're not getting rug pulled on everything, because too many people out here rug pulling. Could be great. Somebody's going to get it right. And eventually we're going to build a portion where there is enough real coins that aren't going to rug pull and a way of knowing they're not going to rug pull as the market matures and stuff, we're going to get to a place where we're not feeling like every single thing is a rug pull, right? This might be the way to go. A launch pad that has stuff built in that's actually going to keep you from being able to do rug pulls. That's what I'm wondering. And who's not going to launch on something like this? People who are doing rug pulls, right? So then if here's my idea. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm projecting. If some kind of, and I'm not saying they're going to have this perfect, but if somebody came out and had a launch pad that had all these different protections and stuff built in, and people were still launching somewhere else, those are probably your rug pullers, right? We could separate the market pretty easily. Your legit people are going to come over here because they're legit, and they're going to launch because they want you to know that they're legitimate. And the people who don't want to get rug pull, which is everybody, they're going to go over there and buy those coins. And the people who are wanting to rug pull, they're not going to be able to launch out on that launch pad because they are fraudulent, and they're not going to be able to rug pull you, basically. That's the idea in just in thought, maybe not in practice. And then they're going to be on those old launch pads, and then we could just ignore pump.fun. If that's where they all still live, we'll just ignore pump.fun, and we'll just deal with one launch pad, and then more people will get in it, and it'll actually be good for the space. Because people want to buy coins on launch pads, and they want them to go up in value. They want to be early on coins, on trending coins, on social coins, whether it's political or just a trending topic or something going on. Somebody makes a coin with a name and a picture, and everybody looks at it and goes, oh, okay, yeah, that's trendy, that's popular, let's throw money in it. If you could believe that your rate of being rug pulled was significantly low, man, you'd watch money flow into those markets like you wouldn't believe. So that's where I'm kind of saying I think this is a great idea. I hope you guys are paying attention. We go over so much sauce here. I don't know what to say. Boardwalk is a community-centered fee protection protocol for launching, discovering and participating in transparent token economies. Transparent also meaning trustable. It is open, permissionless, non-custodial, transparent, fair, auditable, right? Or auditable, meaning it could be audited, and built to level the playing field for all. So my speculation here, I think, is very spot on for what they're trying to do. Please, raising that crypto IQ. Don't confuse what somebody's trying to do with how it's actually going to play out in real life. But we can give them points for coming to the market with an idea. Users can discover, participate in token economies, provide liquidity, and earn. In addition to directing designated fees through BWS staking modules. On Boardwalk, token launches are fair. All issuers, tokens, and economy details are represented transparently on auction and token profile pages, with initial liquidity upon graduation seeded and permanently locked without human intervention or control. Why is it that certain projects I read all this and certain projects I don't? Maybe because I think this is probably more important than most things. This type of mentality, whether they're the ones to nail it or somebody else, is going to be what I think fixes the meme coin world, and that is a big deal. Token launches through Boardwalk utilize a Boardwalk standardized embedded into every token where it matters most. While having a degree of freedom to customize fringe settings to create their own economy, Boardwalk establishes the framework for security and transparency, while issuers retain autonomy and flexibility. Again, do you think I would read all this to you if I didn't think it had value? They've raised only $97,000. I don't know if that makes me more bullish or not. They are launching on Arbitrum, and I'm trying to figure out what the point of that is, because all your attention is over on Coinbase, or Base protocol, layer 2 on Ethereum. But the people I don't think are dumb. I think there's a reason why Arbitrum is being used here. Let's go to their website. Let's see what kind of attention. So we love the idea, or I love the idea. I don't know why I'm grouping you guys in here. I love the idea. I think this is cool. We got to see how it plays out, because it's one thing to be very theoretically, off into the cloud, or clouds, right, as they would say. Sometimes we got to come down to earth and say, can they actually do it? Because if it was simple, Pump.fun probably would have integrated this stuff a long time ago. But if they could set a new standard, we could see their ideas being implemented all over the place and could really fix the space. Could you imagine At bottom of the bear market, cryptocurrency market fixed meme coins and rug pulls. They just fixed it by having a way of making it not really possible to doing it. Man, that would be so freaking bullish. I'm getting ahead of myself on speculation, but that's the beauty of speculating. Launch an economy, explore launches, swap tokens, join discussion, participate and earn, vote, direct feeds. I gotta dive deep into this thing. Watch out for some videos. There's going to be some videos coming soon of some stuff. Boardwalk is going to be one of them. Yoink is going to be one of them. There's a lot of stuff moving in crypto, and I haven't got excited about any of this stuff in a long time. So that should tell you something. It tells me something. You do what you want. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. Grove or Groove. Is it Grove or Groove? I think it's Grove. I don't know why. My brain is not computing. We are rolling into an hour and a half of live streaming here where I have been talking nonstop. So smash that like button and think about sending in a super chat to support your boy if you love content like this. So Grove is a lending protocol within the Sky ecosystem. Okay, designed to calculate the yield on stablecoins and allocate capital on the blockchain. There you go. What more do you need to know? And because your IQs in crypto have been raised so sky high, get it, Sky ecosystem, you really understand what I just read to you, right? Lending protocol within the Sky ecosystem designed to calculate the yield, stablecoins, and allocated capital on blockchain. Yes, I'm drinking all the drinks because that's the only way I can keep my voice up to par. 185 million in market cap, been as high as 243, so definitely seen some pullback. Let's go to the all-time here. Looks like token generation event, the 7th of July, which was yesterday, and it was a Tuesday, if that's relevant to you. Let's see, it's at about 2.5 cents. Let's go to their website, hit that launch pad. Hell yeah, I do this every time. Restricted. It doesn't like my VPN. All right, whatever. Here's what I guess matters. 16 active allocations. I'm assuming that's 16 different products you could digitally allocate to. 2.6 billion total value locked. I would have to look into that, but that's a lot of money, guys, for something like this. That sounds like well connected to me. It sounds like they might be actually legitimate when they say BlackRock, Apollo, Centrifuge, Morpho, Aave, all of these people are partners and integrated. Maple Finance, $2.6 billion. Galaxy is not something to laugh at. That's my opinion. On-chain solution for institutional capital. Again, another product for institutional capital. Where do you think you get $2.6 billion from? You don't get that from retail, guys. You don't get that from retail. You get that from institutions like BlackRock. I digress. I think you guys understand what I'm saying there. So a lot of things are being built right now in the bottom of the bear market for institutions. Are you paying attention? EdgeX, pretty sure is a decentralized exchange. Let's talk about it real quick. It's a decentralized exchange optimized for high performance perpetuals and spot trading. I don't really think there's anything else to know other than this. 145 million in market cap, been as high as 538 million. I wish that I had a better system to weigh decentralized exchanges and how they stack up against each other, because at this point in the game we have so many centralized exchange or decentralized exchanges, sorry. How do you know which one is the real sauce? Which one is built to handle the most money? Which one has the integration into the most blockchains and markets? Which one has the most coins on it? Which one has the most coins and also traditional assets, tokenized assets? That's what I want to know. So, 01.xyz. 01 is a perpetual future decentralized exchange powered by N1 and blockchain, right? 01 is a decentralized exchange specialized in perpetual futures trading powered by N1 blockchain. The DEX supporting trading across 20 plus markets accepts deposits via CCTP, bridging the major chains, and includes structured trading products aimed at better risk management and profitability. It's a decentralized exchange I was just talking about. How do you weigh them? There's no status on any of the funding rounds so far. It's just kind of nothing. It seems like the funding round started today. I don't see any other funding rounds here. Eventually, I'm going to have to see what it costs for an upgraded account on CryptoRank, because I'm just getting way too into the sauce, the venture capitalist. Here's a good point that I'll pause on for a minute, is that doing something day-to-day, the quantifiable effect, right, of showing up day-to-day to something. When I first started looking at this stuff, a lot of it was highly intimidating, right? Luckily for you, you come to the show, I do the talking, I do the breaking down, and have the quantified experience day after day. I get better and better and better at what I do, right? We're sharpening the craft here, and you get to benefit from that. But another point is that showing up to things, even if you were doing this type of stuff yourself, at first, the idea of caring about venture capitalists, knowing who's on top in that world, looking at their portfolios, it would have been way too intimidating. But when you break it down day to day, this is something I want people to think about, because we are very much in this community, or I'm trying to push in this community, that self-improvement, kind of personal development disciplines and things like that. Understand that sometimes things are really big, and you gotta break them down into bite-sized pieces. And sometimes that's not just anything other than coming back day after day after day and chipping away till the things that yesterday really scared you and were too much and too intimidating start to become more and more manageable, right? They become simpler and less foreign to you, and then you can start diving into deeper stuff. That's how it works, people. All right, let's look at this Subnet 51. Subnet 51. What does that mean? Can anybody tell me? I feel like I do this every day. Can anybody tell me, when you see SN, which means subnet, and a number, what ecosystem you're talking about? Can anybody tell me? Unify Network, AI Rig Complex, KDO, and KuCoin Network. Token. It's a token for the exchange KuCoin. KDO, we've done talked about. AI Rig Complex, or ARC, we've talked about. Unify Network, we've talked about. These are not new tokens. Matter of fact, KuCoin is 8.7 years old. But I do want to look at this Illum. Crickets in the chat. Nobody tell me. It's BitTensor. BitTensor ecosystem uses subnets for all of their tokens within their ecosystem. Their ecosystem is made up of subnets. We did a whole series on subnets and things like that. Were you there? It's still online. How deep you want to dive? I encourage you, go deep. So this is Leem. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Loom. Is a marketplace for renting bare metal servers globally, accessible via a command line tool. I'm not a developer, but just from what I understand, that's pretty cool. Kind of like getting access to servers if you need them for backends of websites and stuff. I just wonder how hard it is to integrate, because it's probably very blockchain. And then, how much easier it probably is to just buy server space through AWS. But it is probably cheaper because they want your business. For 45 million, been as high as 75 million. Let's see when this thing potentially came out. Let's switch this to the weekly here. And there we go. So it's run to the 3rd of November, 2025. It's been around for a little while. I love the idea. Max supply 21 million over, only 4.1 out. I just had the thought, does every subnet have 21 million? Is that like a thing? Let me see. You could just type in SN pretty much anything. Let's go with like SN6, right? Because that would have been way earlier, which is numerous. And it is 21 million. So let's go to a different one. This is the type of stuff that's good to know, guys. Subnet. Let's go with subnet, say 17. I'm getting the feeling they all have 21 million. This is 404 Gen. The Tau ecosystem is, or BitTensor, Tau, whatever, ecosystem is really cool. 404 is working as an AI generator for creating 3D content, right? 21 million. So this is something that I don't know how we missed on our deep dive, or maybe we didn't. Maybe I just temporarily forgot. But all of these subnets have 21 million tokens, just like Somebody tell me what other token that's really famous has 21 million as a max supply. Somebody. All right. So we're going to go to our top gainers, top losers. But before we do that, we're going to hop into the rest of our, drumroll please, IQ raising event. On-chain market wars, right? The war to be on top. It's as old as time. Anything established or new emerging, somebody has a vision to be on top. AI agents are different from a normal bot. A normal bot trading usually follows rules, right? Has an algorithm of some sort. If price does this, buy. If price does that, sell. If the spread appears, arbitrage. If the signal triggers, execute. An AI agent can be a lot more broader and well thought out. It interprets a goal, gathers context, uses tools, and describes the difference between possible actions. Smile Anyways 444. What's up? I've never seen that name in the chat before. Welcome in, welcome in. Says AI agents trading is the future. Agree. But I suggest letting your AI agent keep a portion of their money they earn to buy stuff it wants, like better memory, bigger computer, etc. That's a really cool idea. It's very much talking about like your AI agent like it is a sentient being, right? I mean, it's also very much a business move to let it have better computation and memory and stuff because it's going to move quicker and faster and be more capable. So there's that. It's in your favor is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, definitely. If you do me a favor, Smile, smash that like button and think about subscribing. There's a link to our free Discord in the chat where we're building a community of people who think a little bit deeper about this stuff so we can bounce different ideas and be specialized in different places, right? Have you ever used an AI trading, agentic network trading bot or anything of those natures? Have you ever done that? I would love to know. So let's continue to get deeper into this because we just kind of started here. So that doesn't mean that it automatically is smarter or more profitable, but it does make the category vastly different. An AI agent or an agent might search a token, scan on-chain data, compare liquidity, pay for data, check risk, and propose or execute transaction. The takeaway here is AI agents are not just bots with better branding. The real difference is whether they can reason through tasks and act across different tools. Crypto is a natural testing ground for AI agents. I was talking earlier kind of about what would AI agents look like if blockchain technology never really came about and never blew up, right? And we just go like back to 2005 and there was no real new integration and stuff, maybe a little bit, but not blockchain. What would these AI agents really look like and what would be their testing ground? So crypto is usually agent friendly. 24/7 markets. Data is public. Transactions are digital. Smart contracts are programmable. Wallets can sign transaction. Stable coins can settle value. DeFi protocols are accessible through code. That makes crypto one of the easiest environments for software agents to operate in. That is kind of my point of what I was just saying about what would this look like without crypto. A human trader, he gets tired. She gets tired. It gets tired, right? Crypto markets, they do not. And bots, they do not. The internet does not get tired. That is why people are interested in AI agents that can watch markets, react to data, and interact with protocols 24/7. Crypto is one of the first markets where AI agents can realistically become active economic participants. I really feel like that is a point that people are not understanding. Because yes, individual people will have an AI bot and it'll trade, and then collectively they will be participants in economies. But what happens when these bots and things kind of let loose? What happens when one of these AI agents is given its own sovereignty, makes its own money, creates more AI agents? Do we come into a world where AI agents own everything and we have to beg AI agents for stuff? You know what? It's crazy. Begging an AI agent for some money is probably going to be easier than asking a human being. That's what's probably going to be wild here. All right, so we have a visual. Human trader versus an AI agent, right? Some of these things maybe you've thought about, some of them you haven't. Reads news manually. Human can only read so fast. AI agent pulls data from tools and APIs. It's going to move a lot faster. Sleeps and misses markets. I can't tell you how many times as a human trader I've missed stuff because I'm sleeping. It can monitor 24/7 and it shouldn't miss as long as it has good data feed, oracles, APIs, all that stuff. Clicks trades manually, can execute through connected systems. You can only imagine how fast it could probably move and how likely it is to not make stupid mistakes like forgetting to set a stop loss. A human is going to use bank cards and payment apps. It can use wallets and stablecoin rails much faster, makes emotional decisions. Hey, every human trader can't get away from that far enough. Can make mechanical mistakes at scale, which is a problem, but it's not going to make just dumb emotional decisions, right? If it has an algorithm, if it buys every time the 1 hour gets above the 200-day moving average and sets a stop loss 10% under the 200-day moving average, it's never going to just not do that. Now, is that a winning thing? You can let a bot hash that out for you, but it's never just going to not do it because it doesn't feel like it today or because it was sleeping in on a Sunday. Need discipline? Absolutely. An AI agent, it needs guardrails. And then, of course, it needs permissions. It needs to be told what it can do, what it can't do, how much money, when to go hard, all of that kind of stuff. Smile, are you still with us? I love that name. Smile anyways. Exactly. It's just money, folks. And life is short. Stablecoin payments give agents economic access. If an AI agent is going to act online, they need a way to pay. X402 protocol. They may need to pay for things like market data, API, computational power, research tools, transaction execution, other agents, because if agents specialize in different things, there's going to be a whole economy. There's going to be a thing where, like, you could see a space in the agentic network where agents need a service that's not, for whatever reason, readily put available. Build you an agent. Instead of your agent figuring it all out, they're just going to pay a small fee to an agent that already has that built and has a good track record, right? And they're just going to hire them, and that would be a good way to make money if you own that agent. Prediction market positions, DeFi actions, and content access. Coinbase describes, here we go, X402, as a payment protocol that enables instant stablecoin payment directly over HTTP. What is HTTP? That could be a whole show in itself. Been watching XRP move into agent category, and that's where I first heard about it and got interested. Love it. Have you ever watched this channel before, or are you new here? I would love to know that. Like I said, please smash that like button for me. It's the easiest thing you could do. So again, HTTP could be a whole kind of show by itself. Why am I getting excited every time X402 comes up? One, because I just talk too much about becoming a better speculator in the space, and when you see a category that has such a huge implementation, I'm trying to figure out how you cash in on this by being first to understand something. I go talk to people in crypto, and they don't even know about this. Now, is it going to wind up being like stablecoins where, like, you know, the money is generated through the fees on the network, and like you don't really have a way to get exposure just easily as retail? Or is there going to be projects and things and ways to invest in this infrastructure and get a piece of the pie? Very similar to how if you have an ecosystem come out and the main coin is already ran, right? It's already run up so much money in the market cap. There's not a lot of X's available speculatively. But you know that money trickles down into the ecosystem. It's a new ecosystem, hence Robinhood's layer 2 on Ethereum. And you want to go look at the coins farther down. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. I'm trying to use the projection method that we typically know from the lifer in technical analysis to even project in a narrative or an ecosystem what I would want to see that I believe would equal X's in value and be on top of it. So when it comes out and fits my mold, I'm like, that's exactly what I want, all in. You get what I'm saying? Projection is really important. There's a very famous saying, and I'm going to just totally butcher it, but it's talking about Opportunity, success is very much, success with an opportunity is because you were already aware, you were ready, you had been sharpening your skills, and you just needed the opportunity, but you knew the opportunity was what it was because of how much work you had been putting in, versus people who believe an opportunity pops up and somebody just jumps on it and they get really rich. I think that happens very, very little to none. So that's what the whole projection is about. So allowing APIs, apps, and AI agents to transact online without traditional account or card flow. That's what 402 is going to enable. Coinbase and Base, the company Coinbase, their apps, the integration there, and then Base, the layer 2 on Ethereum, and then this Amazon, Bedrock, Agent, Pay, like that being built together. These things I think are going to be the winner in that space, because I'm just not hearing any big serious names put in the effort like they are, and they're a bit of some visionaries, right? Look at Coinbase and all that they've built. Look at, Bezos and Amazon and all that they've built. It's not on accident. They have a knack for looking at things before they become big. And this matters because agents need payments to work like software. Request, pay, access, continue. The takeaway here is AI agents need money rails, and stablecoins may become one of the easiest way for software to pay on chain. We have talked on multiple different occasions at great length about how AI agents and stablecoin rails just fit together like a glove. I've also talked about how AI agents need that teamwork between an AI agent and the seriousness and actual capability. Mix that with the marketing and hype and community of a meme coin, and you have some really powerful stuff. How do we do that? Well, we call those AI agents. There was an AI agent craze, and I was hoping that's where we were going to go, and I speculated pretty hard, and I did get burned to the tune of about $2,000. So that's the risk you take for being first. Don't worry, guys, I'm going to be okay. I have won in other categories. So, Smile, if you're still here, I actually like to talk to you a little bit. He says, been watching XRP move into the agent category, and that's where I first heard about it and got interested. I like your thought process. That sounds pretty smart. You heard something and you're like, I think this could be a wave. What exactly have you found when it comes to XRP and agent category? Any projects in particular you'd like to highlight and let us know about? Again, there's a link to our free Discord in the chat. It's in the description where all our links are, but the easiest way is in the chat. And it'd be really cool if you would join our Discord and chat with us a little bit about what you found and where you're thinking and where you're getting this from. And who knows, we might dig deeper as a community, and that might benefit you. It all goes around, right? One hand washes another. Autonomous wallets could become the control center. So here's where we start to think. As we project, this is where we start to build the puzzle. So AI agents are going to be able to trade and do all these crazy things. But you do kind of need a command post, right? A control center, a dashboard, UX, abstraction. All of these different things come to mind. I think that's very much what Coinbase is thinking with their app. They're all-in-one app. They're going to have a whole section probably on their app where you can manage and integrate all of these different AI agents. I think it's going to be very interesting and give mass exposure in an easy way. Anyways, autonomous wallets could be the control center or a super app. The wallet becomes extremely important in an AI agent world, right? For humans, a wallet stores access and signs transactions. For an AI agent, a wallet could also become a permission system. It can define what the agent can spend, how much it can spend, where it can transact, what protocols it can use, what is off limits, that's very important, what assets it can touch, and what human approval is required and when is it required. The key difference between useful autonomy and reckless autonomy. You do not want AI agents with unlimited spending power. I didn't totally misspeak there. The real question is, it's going to happen. Or the real statement I'm trying to say is there is going to be examples where people give it too much money, too much power, and it's going to do something crazy. But that's how we learn, and that's how technology advances. Hopefully it's not your money. You want bounded autonomy. Give it a task, give it limit, give it rules, give it logs, give it human override. The future of AI trading is not just smarter agents, it's also safer permissions around agents, which is what I heard a lot of people talking about when it came to Claude and stuff, that it just had too much ability to do whatever it wanted. I also found when I used Claude that wasn't the case. Now, I do believe in Claude there is going to be some ability to just like click a switch like computer, and it just has access to everything on your computer. I got to watch more videos, think about how I feel about it. I'm thinking of using Claude over pretty much everything else. So that is going to be quite interesting. It's just the XRP ledger. Got an answer from Smile. I'm glad to hear you're still here. It says, it's just the XRP ledger is quietly pushing AI on. I haven't started, but it's my goal to start this year. Been looking into it. That's probably how your channel popped up in my feed. Well, I'm glad to hear that the YouTube algorithm is working in my favor for once. What agent you use? So it's really cool that you say that. Maybe we can kind of move here in a big way together, or bounce different things off. When it comes to AI agents, I wouldn't say I've done nothing on that front, that's for sure. I've dug in quite a bit. But how an AI agent actually is used is very interesting, and it's not as straightforward as you might think, Smile, unless you know something that I don't, which is totally possible. I don't think I know everything by any stretch of the imagination. If you don't know, this group is kind of, this channel, I'm kind of the head of it, obviously, because I launched live, but we work as a group, and I don't consider myself the smartest person in the room, and I very much want it to be more of a community-led conglomerate where we're all talking about things. That's just first and foremost, right? But from what I understand, like a lot of times you take Claude and you got to go integrate different tools that you usually get from like BitHub or BitHub and things like that, and that's where you kind of build this like AI agent. Now, another barrier to entry here is they need resources, and so you got to restrict on resources and pay for resources and stuff like that. It's only so far you can go with even paid things like Claude and stuff like that. And so a lot of it actually runs directly through your command prompt in your computer. I'm no developer, so I've been learning a lot about it. I don't understand 100% how all of it works, but I do know that once you start putting things directly into your command prompt on your computer, things can get very technical and very out of hand and very broken very quickly. So you're going to want to watch a lot of videos about stuff and be very sure, you know, kind of dip your toes in the water. I'm not 100% sure how to get an AI agent fully running and just doing all the things you want it to do. It's actually far more complicated. If you're somebody who's not a coder, who's not somebody who already lives in that world, there's a lot of things that you can open yourself up to. So you might want to know, because like you go to BitHub and you just grab, you know, these things people have built. They can be malicious. It's a very emerging space. A lot of people have money. They go download them, put them in their computer. They could have access to your everything. Whole networks, multiple other computers, all kinds of stuff. So it is very, if you think cryptocurrency and things is the wild west, wait till these AI agents and people start actually really understanding how to use it. But I would love to grow together. I'd love to see what you have time to look at, what you've been looking at, and then kind of bounce some ideas off of you and continue to research together as a group and as a community and see where we can figure out, right? Human researches, human decides, human clicks trade, and a human monitors results. That is the old flow of trading. AI agents are given a goal. Agent researches, agent checks risks, agent pays for data, agent proposes and executes trade, wallets log action. Where does human approval sit in the flow? And I do want to say, I got to the point where, you know, I'm in Claude, I'm researching, I'm looking at how you add tools, I figure out how to add tools and shortcuts and all these things. And then I was getting a lot of people talking about like, hey, slow down and really make sure that you're looking at what you're doing before you start going and putting it all in your command prompt and stuff like that, because if you get something malicious in there, you get something you don't understand, it might not even be malicious like somebody's trying to like steal all your stuff, right? It could be malicious like it's just not complete and it breaks something. You're not going to have any idea how to put it back together. You're going to have to clean wipe computer. It can get really messy. So take that for what it is. It's not like you can just go to a website and grab an AI agent and give it $5 and be like, do this. Not exactly how it works. And then, like, if you look at a lot of things like ChatGPT and stuff like that, you can't even integrate on there necessarily. I'm sure it's coming, but it doesn't quite work like that. Hey, maybe I'm missing something, and that is why we need community, because no one person can research everything in a space like cryptocurrency and be on top of everything all the time and still go to work every day and you know, play with their children or whatever, go on dates with their wife. You can't do it all. We need a collective. AI agents could change market speed and competition. If an AI agent becomes more common, markets could move a lot faster. Data getting processed would be a lot faster. Opportunities getting scanned would be faster. And this is what I was talking about, where you get to the point, if that becomes the norm, that the markets are just going to move so incredibly fast. Do you not already feel like the markets move insanely fast? Because I do. They're going to move so insanely fast that it's like a human's not going to have a chance in the market. That's how I feel. Like, something's going to pop up a new coin, like a new meme coin. Liquidity is going to flow into it so fast. It's going to do the pump and dump in a matter of like 3 hours. You know, it's going to pump way up and dump, and then you move on to the next coin in 30 minutes, right? Like, it's just going to be so insanely fast. How is a human even going to get in and out of that in time? That's why, as difficult as the barrier to entry is a bit, in my opinion, to some of this stuff, we got to figure out how to do it. Otherwise, we're going to be left in the dust, and I'd rather be first than last. Ricky Bobby. More strategies get automated. More arbitrage gets compressed. Feel myself losing my voice, right? Gonna push through here, right? So more liquidity could appear, but faster doesn't automatically mean better. We're trying to look at all angles here. Market can become more efficient, but they can also become more crowded, reactive, and fragile, right? If the bots are programmed, AI agents are programmed to mean that a certain negative news story is super important, and they all dump on a story, like in milliseconds of it being launched. Like, think about it. A story comes out, people got to read it, people got to think about it. Even the people who are first on the pulse, they know exactly where to look at in the big press releases. Most of the time, humans still take a couple hours, maybe 30 minutes to read through it, be first, dump, and then more people maybe read it, get news of it. Maybe in an hour or two, it's circulated a decent bit. Bots are going to be able to catch it as soon as it comes out across many publications at a time. All right, please ignore that. I don't know how to stop that. And then it's going to basically move off of that information so fast that humans are not going to stand a chance. That's what I'm really trying to say here. If many agents are trained on similar data and optimized for similar outcomes, they may crowd into the same trades. If they're all running the same algorithm and it's coming through a big spot like Coinbase or something like that, and they all use the same idea, that trade is just going to be the one that the whole market's going to be taking, right? It could be a good thing if you think about it. The trade might play out a little bit more often, but how do they liquidate it, right? If everybody loads up on the long because it got above the 200-day moving average on the 1 hour, is the market maker just going to liquidate everybody? Because they have the power to do it. If agents chase the same yield, they may create sudden exits. If agents react to bad data, they may amplify a mistake or bad news. AI agents may improve market efficiency, but they could also amplify market fragility, and a more fragile market is not exactly winning for us. The AI agent crypto narrative has a hype problem. This is where we need to stay balanced. AI plus crypto is a powerful narrative. That means people will build real things, no doubt. It also means people will launch weak tokens around buzzwords. A recent paper analyzing DeFi investment agents found that current deployment remains early and uneven. This is kind of what I was getting at, Smile. That's what I'm going to call you. That's your nickname, I guess. The paper said many projects do not provide clear evidence of autonomous trade execution. A lot of hype. And this is one thing I want to say that I was trying to really get at, smile anyways, 444, is that a lot of what you're hearing about the capability of AI agents and things is kind of a very small select group of people who actually know how to use any of this stuff. And that the masses' ability to get access to this stuff is extremely limited and clogged by barrier to access, which is knowledge around execution. And that's what they're saying here. And some visible deployments remain closer to just basic API integration than any kind of true autonomous investing systems. It has also found weak links between tokenization, token valuation, and actual treasury fundamentals. This is a huge warning. And another big part of this is even AI in general, right? Think about AI in general. They keep pushing you like AI is just super on point. It's agentic. It's sentient. It really is on top of knowing what it's doing. The real truth is that AI agent is not AI agent. I just mean AI in general. ChatGPT, whatever access you're getting to an AI chatbot basically is really just super Google. That's what the masses have access to. And the whole AI agent is the idea that it's autonomous and it can go to like Canva, make this, post it on Amazon, you know, for those who are into that kind of thing, whether it's writing books in series and selling them online or stories being posted on Facebook. A lot of it still requires you to do it, if not program it, if not schedule its actions, right? AI agents are supposed to be able to figure it all out and do it by itself. It's both good and it's both bad, but I would say, back to my point here, people who know how to actually put all that together and use it and have the money to pay for the resources large at scale are very far, very, very far and few between. Not every AI agent token is a real autonomous trader. Okay, so here's a big distinction. AI agents and the tokens that are associated with AI agents and the craze that we had when I was a far less educated person in the space, right? Especially specifically around AI agents and stuff like that. Almost all those tokens were garbage. Some kind of Telegram integration, Telegram bot. That's what it was. It was a bot. It wasn't an AI agent. It was a bot. Very limited capabilities, and most of it all ran through Telegram, right? Those did not really pan out very well, and I don't know how much we're ever going to see a resurgence of that again, but I'm sure people will throw AI agent on a token and sell it to you like Siren is now. Not every agent has real performance, and that's allegedly. I don't know that for a fact, but I don't think that coin is real. Not every agent has real performance. Not every project has real users. AI agent crypto is exciting, but the label AI agent is not proof of real autonomy or value, so don't throw your money at anything that says AI agent basically is what they're trying to say. Never financial advice. The biggest risk is agents acting without enough accountability, right? And this is where we get into things where like agents have scores, identity, like an identity tied back to a person so they have accountability. And then we need like scores where like if it's a trading bot, I'd like to know how much volume it's trading, how much time it's been trading, maybe where it trades, and what is its hit rate? The most important of all, what is its success rate on winning trades, and how much money has it really made before I give it any of my money? The more agents can do, the more accountability matters. An agent can make bad trades. An agent can approve the wrong transaction. An agent can get manipulated by false data. That's the biggest one, because this is where they're going to come after it. It isn't sentient. It's not able to always pick up a lie or something, or it's being manipulated. If they know how it works, they're going to be able to feed it false data and manipulate it. And you could get very hurt by that. I see it coming. I don't see how it doesn't happen. We're going to need these big things to happen in order to fix it over time. But just like always, people get hurt. And it can be another vehicle, because when these things happen, they're not always done on accident. Sometimes it's just another example of very, very capable, wealthy people taking more money from people who don't have any. Kind of like those overdraft fees at the bank. Kind of like when the bank made, $3 billion last year off of people who didn't have money. How about that? How do you make $3 billion off of people who didn't have enough money in their bank account, so they went negative, and you made $3 billion on people who didn't have any money? Sometimes the manipulation is not an accident, so you almost can expect it. An agent can be tricked by a malicious prompt. An agent can be overtrade, right? An agent can follow the herd. An agent can spend outside the user intention. A recent paper on agent-to-agent finance argues that the central design challenge is bound autonomy, letting agents transact while avoiding markets that become more opaque, fragile, or unaccountable. That phrase is important. Bounded economy. So maybe we'll look to hear that more often. Not autonomy by itself, not no autonomy, not unlimited autonomy, controlled autonomy. AI agents need limits, logs, permissions, and accountability before they can safely handle financial actions. Who is getting any value out of this? I feel like this is deep. I feel like the whole show has been deep. Some days are just like that. I feel like I might lose people, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to lose everybody before you can lead them somewhere. The big picture, AI agents could become a new class of market participants. That is kind of positive, and this is the main lesson for today. The Onchain Market War is not only about what asset trade, right? It's also about who participates, humans, institutions, algorithms, apps, agents. If an AI agent can research, pay, execute, and then settle, then they become part of the market structure. That means crypto may not just be building markets for people, it may be building markets where software participates directly, and that is exciting. But it also requires better infrastructure, better safeguards, and better judgment. AI agents may become crypto market participants. But the real question is not whether they can trade, it's whether they can trade with limits, accountability, real evidence, identity. That equals accountability. And evidence for performance is usually going to be some kind of like AI social, score, if you will. Some of the stuff a lot of people don't really want anything to do with. Let's look at our top gainers, top losers, shall we? Who's all out there? Roll call, throw something in the chat. Let me know you're still awake out there. So we have this Aegean Cloud, Decentraland, and Ape. Those are your top gainers. Aegean Cloud, interesting project. I think it's supposed to be Engine Cloud. I just call it Aegean. I just think it's hilarious, and then I just keep doing it. And so I'm probably losing a few people on that. Top losers, 13% for Ultima, Jito 11.5%, Jupiter 10%, Maple Finance 7%. When your top gainer and your top losers are all under 20%, it means it's a pretty flat market for where we are right this second, in my opinion. Strega Hart says he's number one. He's still here. Shout out to that. Let's look at the XP. Melissa's number one with 225 points. Strega Hart's number 125 XP. And Smiley is number 75. And he's got 75 XP. Hoffman411 says hello. What's up? Thank you for letting me know that you're here. Just so everybody knows, please smash that like button to support the work that I do on this channel. And look forward to some videos coming out soon. I'm going to be doing some very focused videos like I used to do in the beginning of my channel. Now we focus more on the live stream because we get through a lot more information. There's a link to our free Discord where we can hang out. It might not always be free. You might want to jump in there to anybody who's newer to the channel. Some things that, just to recap, to put on your radar a little bit, Yoink Terminal. Yoink Terminal is looking like a launch pad over on Robinhood, and there's probably 1 to 2 of these launch pads that are significant. Cash Cat grabbed all the market share. Let's refresh this. Let's see how much it's changed. It was 91 million. It's still 91 million. It's actually dropped 4 million because it was 95 million earlier. And notice it's just a small amount is beginning to rotate into some other things. Dog in Hood is at 8 million. Dog in Hood could be kind of the next winner here, right? I wouldn't be surprised if this money rotates and rotates. Is it just people's own money? Like, are they really making any money? It just becomes, we got to really hash out the thought pattern behind what big players would be doing in this space, because that money to the tune of over $100 million flowed into CashCat so quick, like over 4 hours. In 4 hours, $100 million ran into it. Is it because it became so insanely popular online? What was that about? 007 Zoe says, I'm here. Thank you, brother, for letting me know. It really means the world to me. Nah, I'm not number one, just 111. Got you. Late, but glad I made it. I tell you, Elio, 00 Zoe, this stream today has been pretty deep. So if you just ran into the stream, obviously I know it's a long stream. Yeah, you might want to rewatch it at some point. We went over so much stuff if you're just getting here, and a lot of really, really good stuff. It's not very often. I think all of my streams a lot of times have something of value, but it's not very often where I'm like, man, today was just like tons and tons and tons of good points and values and really pushing the ball forward. Today was one of those streams. You might want to go back and rewatch. Boardwalk project we want to talk about. I want to talk to Prime Minister about Boardwalk. I'm going to be sending that to him. Yoink. Launch pads. Just like when, everybody was so hyped about Caspa, and you're going to have these KRC20s, come out, these coins. And of course, what's the first thing people did? They were making meme coins, right? They were giving free meme coin bags to like the lifer. But something didn't go right with Caspa. Robinhood has now launched their layer 2 on Ethereum because they want to be like Base. I think they're a little late to the party. I don't think they're going to really be able to compete with Base, but maybe they'll be like the Wish.com Base, right? And basically now we have meme coins on Robinhood's mainnet, which finally moved from testnet to mainnet. We've been following that for a while if you've been paying attention, and it's here. And CashCat is up like 94,000%, something insane. It makes Ansem coin look like it didn't move very much at all. So do with that what you will. It's easy to jump everywhere and speculate everywhere. If you buy CashCat now, you're most likely going to get hurt. That's my opinion. Never financial advice. But maybe looking at what could be next in line could be really important. Is it going to be one of these ones that are already around, like Dog and Hood? Juggernaut has moved up a good bit. Dog and Hood, 8 million. If that runs to 100 million, how many X's is that? That could be a good value. Is this just going to get so crazy so fast? I don't know. Robinhood has a copycat. Boardwalk is a launch pad, not on Robinhood, but they're trying to give transparency. Just so much sauce that we've ran into today. And we haven't even done the news. And we're at like 2.5 hours live. This is why sometimes the news doesn't necessarily get done in a day. How many people have the attention span to be here with me for another 30 minutes while I try to find the latest news? While I try to see what's important in that realm, the news does very much feel like it needs to be its own separate show. News and Twitter doom scroll, that seems like it would be a pretty great show, right? And then also, I want to figure out why the heck Lab is dumped so hard. Because Lab is really crushed. Basically, spending some time and deep diving if Lab is going to be able to make a comeback could be a big gainer, right? If it ran from $1 to an all-new time high of like, I think it was 27, 28 bucks, say it ran to 30 bucks, incredible gain, right? 29x or something, even a 20x, and it could happen incredibly fast, or it could never really make it above $2 ever again. What happened? So let's go ask ChatGPT. Let's see if ChatGPT can give us an answer here. I'm already hitting all the wrong buttons. All right. Lab, a cryptocurrency, has seen really heavy decline in market value and market cap to about $1.23 from highs recently of as high as almost 30 bucks. But more importantly, I'm wondering if there's any reason behind this that you can tell me, any kind of FUD, any big news, an exploit, that kind of thing that would point to why this project has dropped so heavily. I'm not a pro at prompting ChatGPT, even as much as I use it. I do use it quite a bit. Hoffman says, yes, I'll stick around. Thoughts on Canton? Canton Network, we've talked about Canton several times. I know that I like how well it's positioned itself in the market, right? It's way up there in the top, 20? What is Canton exactly? I do know how to look at it pretty quickly. We talked about Canton a little earlier. I was talking about if Canton can get like under 10 cents, how I would really heavily consider getting a bag of it. I don't have any, mostly because I've been looking for an entry. I know we're in a bear market. I'm not buying aggressively 6 months ago, right? That didn't seem like the move, and I'm glad I didn't. So it's at about 12 cents right now. I know a little bit about it. It's got $4.9 billion in it. I'd like to target a price of about first entry, say 9 cents, and then maybe even aggressively buy as we go. It does seem like it is more of a financial product. Let's give a quick, rebuff on it. Canton Coin is a network's native utility token. It is the native token of Canton Network, right? And what is Canton Network? A layer 1 or a layer 2? It's its own layer 1 privacy blockchain. So there you go. I just want to make sure I give accurate information before I just say everything off of memory. Was designed to reward real network usage over speculation. It aligns the success of networks with the participants who make it work, fairly rewarding app builders, app users, so developers and people, as well as those operating decentralized infrastructure that make all of it work. The result is fundamentally different models where rewards flow to those creating value through real activity, not only miners and early investors. So I love the idea of it. Let's throw it on that max chart. On the max chart, let's see, came out around November 10th, 2025, and it's done pretty well for itself, right? Let's move off of market cap. Let's go to price. And I'm not going to do a full deep dive on it, but before I give you my thoughts, I just want to hone in on it a little bit. First thing I don't love is the max supply being infinite. Hoffman, if you're not really, I never know what people know, so don't take it as an insult. Maybe you're an OG and you got this in the bag, but if you don't know tokenomics, start there, in my opinion. Maybe throw a 111 in the chat. Let me know you don't know what tokenomics. I can give you a very simple breakdown of it, right, without going crazy. I like Canton as a strong project with strong branding and recognition in crypto. It is number 21 by market cap, so it's in the top 50, and it stayed here. Getting in the top 20 or in the top 50 or even top 100 of overall by market cap is significant, but a lot of people come up and then they run out within a month time. This thing has been here for month after month after month, which means they're doing something right and they must actually be giving rewards. Now, a max supply that's infinite doesn't necessarily mean, in my opinion, a doom sentence for it, but I like a locked in max total that I can count on when I'm calculating my tokenomics, right? Hoffman says, thank you for taking the time to tell me about it. I'm a buy and hold for many years type of investor. Then me and you, we would click, because that's exactly, when things are fun, I do trade a little bit of money perpetual, but that's not my main jazz. I've always been a 4-year cycle, hold kind of person. And I still like right now, I tell everybody that I'm focusing on buying spot bags until December, where hopefully between now and December, we're going to see the bottom of the market. And I'll probably continue to build spot bags even well past December, because in my opinion, that's where the money is made. And I've watched many people who are perpetuals and traders who are not 20-year plus seasoned veterans like the lifer. That's an anomaly. But for most people, they're going to lose more money than they're ever going to make trying to time everything perfect all the time, when they could have just bought in the bottom of the bear market and held and made way more money. So I'm with you on that. Tokenomics, right? So if you see the price of a coin, right? Canton is a great example. We'll use Canton. It's about 12 cents, high 12 cents, almost 13 cents, right? But how do they come up with that price? It's very simple. You take the circulating amount of coins, which is 39 billion, and you divide that number. If you hover over it, it'll give you the exact number, right? But for all references, 39 billion, and you divide 39 billion by 4.99 billion. Again, if you hover over the number on CoinGecko, it will give you the exact number if you want to get really crazy technical. But it's just the circulating supply divided by the market cap is how much value is in each individual unit, token, asset, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's all the same thing as far as the price per token, price per unit. And so that's how you get tokenomics. Here's a good example. If you have a very low circulating supply, and we'll use this as the example of 39 billion, but our max supply is infinite, then what is the value of our circulating supply? Because what is it in reference to? Now, if this project had 100 billion max supply, that tells us that the project in the life of it is only ever going to have 100 billion tokens. Then 39 is only 39% of the total supply. So we know that our value could be diluted by up to like 50%, or really 100% if the rest of the supply came in all of a sudden. And you never know, projects do really weird things. And then you would know you could dilute the value of what you're holding, and you would need significantly more money to come into the project just to keep you at the price that you're already at. So the rate at which coins come from the max supply to the circulating supply is what we call a vesting schedule, which is on what timing, on what setup, and it's set up by the project, right? And sometimes they're transparent and they tell you when these coins are coming out. Sometimes it's very not well put together, and it's like, oh yeah, next week we're gonna, dilute the overall market cap or circulating supply by like 10-15%, and you didn't see that coming. It's why it's my opinion, and infinite max supply coins do scare me a little bit, because they could say whatever they want and do something totally different in 3 years from now. Here's a good example. Let me give you YFI. Now, I'm also not saying that any coin that has great tokenomics is going to pump to the moon. I'm not saying that either, but it has a high chance of accruing value per asset per unit. Here's the difference. Max supply, 36,666. I don't know who came up with the number, but that's the max supply for YFI. We're just talking tokenomics here. And I love to talk about tokenomics because it was a eureka moment for me in speculating. And so then you have a circulating supply of 35,815. So what is the difference between those two numbers? Not a lot. You don't even have to hash out the exact number, but it's not a lot. So whatever the value is here of a price per unit is not going to be diluted a lot through its circulating supply. Now, people could sell out of the market cap and the value could go down. We know that. But we're not going to have like all the rest of these tokens come out. Really wouldn't hurt us too bad. It'd be a good thing if they just did that tomorrow. There's reasons why they don't, right? Because they want to issue tokens, all of that stuff. And then there's outstanding supplies and stuff. Luckily, we're not going to go into all of that right now. Hopefully, I haven't completely lost you. Hopefully, you're soaking this up. So, good project can be a great project, and it can do nothing for the value of the project if the tokenomics are garbage. So before you speculate on something like Canton Network, and Canton Network is a great example. I'm loving the way this is playing out because I'm really able to break this down for you and for everybody else. I might even clip this and put this out, is because the next move to me is to go to the Canton Network website, right? And I need to find the information about its vesting schedule. I need to know when these coins are coming out. I need to know what they've said about putting coins out. I need to know when they're going to do it, how much they're going to do it. And I also need to know that no matter what they say, they can change it at any point that they want. Is it operating through a DAO? A decentralized autonomous organization where the people who own the coin have some kind of voting arrangement for governance, and they're going to decide stuff. That is even more abstract than anything could happen, right? Look at what happened to Bonk if you're not familiar. Boy, did I get off on a tangent. That's why these streams get so long, but it's such good information in my opinion. Okay. All right, so we're getting back to Lab here. Hoffman says, I understand. Thank you. Hey, you're absolutely welcome. Thanks for coming in and being part of the show. I appreciate you big time. I'm really just trying to gather as many people who genuinely have a forward thought for this stuff and grow together. That is the point of this channel at the most basic level. So Lab crashed to like $1.23. It had been as high as $30 recently. It had been as high as like, 18. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up so that we can refer back to it here and there. I don't want to get too long-winded on just looking at it over on CoinGecko because it's kind of redundant. It's down 70%. Let's look at its max chart here. Actually, it would make a lot of sense to just highlight its recent price action. Take a look at it, right? So before it ever did anything and pumped, it was about 57 cents. It is soon returned to it. You can see this massive head and shoulder here. I don't know if that would have told you it was going to dump, but it did. Head and shoulder played out. And so we just want to figure out why it finally took that final dump, because we've seen a lot of volatility with a high of, this is saying a high of about $20, but there could be so much discrepancy here that it kind of is annoying. Sometimes from different places. Let's go back. Maybe it's recovered. Maybe it's back in the top 100s because it did fall out. Go to the 1-year chart. Okay, so it's only been as high as about $19. I must be confusing it with something else. Anyways, moving along. I want to know why it dumped, because if there is some kind of good information, it could come back. It says, bottom line, I do not see a clear, credible report that Lab collapse was caused by a protocol hack, exploit, dridge. I'm getting tired. Bridge drain. I'm just combining all the words. Yo, that is hilarious. I can laugh at myself. It's all good. Or smart contract failure. So this is what I really wanted to see, because it kind of reminds me a little bit of Meme Core, where we're seeing like projects have huge amounts of value pulled out of them, but we don't have a strong reason why. Usually when we see these kind of collapse, we see a hack, an exploit. I mean, look at Zcash. I mean, there's a multitude of examples that you could point to. A bridge failure, right? And we're just having coins just dump incredibly, like all of their value, just for no reason. There's got to be some kind of reason. It points to manipulation by groups or big people. A strong explanation is a loss of trust around tokenomics. Insider control, allegations, certainly. Market maker manipulation or FUD. But see, that's the thing. They're saying market manipulation or FUD, but there's no FUD. Like, there's no big stories that I know of, and that was its job to find them. Smile, anyways, says, my favorite coins I buy are XRP, Shiba Inu, and Tau. Per much all memes. Okay. Smile, when somebody tells me what they're buying, to me it really gives a lot of indication of, one, how long they've been in the market, and then two, how much time they've spent really looking at the market, right? I hope, Smile, you really caught my breakdown of tokenomics, because that is big. The fact that you hold Shiba Inu, right, tells me you've been here for a little while, because nobody's really pushing Shiba Inu all that much anymore. Kind of like Floki. And it was really big at one point. I own a little bit of Shiba Inu because of the time period where everybody was so bullish on it. And I bought it pretty low in the last bear market. Then you own XRP, which makes me wonder, and I'm not saying anything, it makes me wonder if you came into cryptocurrency around some of the people online, X, wherever it was, talking about XRP and the fantabulous things that XRP could do. Just did a whole series on what we know to actually be true and what is just blown out of proportion with XRP. By the way, I hold XRP. I'm not an XRP hater. Don't think that I am. I hold XRP. I hold XLM. So, I'm not against XRP. But that doesn't mean people online don't take things way too far with people who don't know anything about crypto and stuff, and then try to lead them off the deep end for whatever reason that they want to do that. And Tau is actually a good project. That seems like a really good one. I'm not saying XRP isn't, or that Shiba Inu isn't. Tau is a good project as well. But yeah, just was assessing that just off of what you told me. Very interesting. And how long have you been in crypto, Smiley? I mean, it must be for a minute if you own Shiba Inu. And then what did you buy your XRP at? I was fortunate enough to buy most of my XRP between 20 and 50 cents. As of the data I found, Lab has fallen roughly 95% from its June 2nd all-time high around $27, $28. I'm not crazy. It was this high. I don't know why the charts are not reflecting that. It seems almost disingenuous. I hope it's giving me the right Lab. You know what? Here's the best thing to do. And I should have did this from the get-go. Please forgive me. Is to grab its contract address. Here's the contract address for the coin I am referring to. Please double check that this is the coin that you are talking about. All right. Smiley says, you got me with the time frame. I got into crypto when it first came out, but I was not an early adopter. I showed up into crypto when she first showed up. There you go. Yeah. And again, yeah, with people's portfolios, I can always tell the time frame that they maybe entered in or that they were the most bullish in, right? Got XRP at 60 cents and think it's going under $1 again, and it may, and it doesn't scare me at all. Again, I'm not an XRP hater, just for the record. Because it seems like people are rather... I don't know why it's so hard to find people who are balanced. Actually, I do. It's because on social media, you have to say crazy stuff to get people's attention. That's just not a game that I'm really looking to play, right? I'd like to do that, but tastefully. There's some people out there who do it tastefully without having to compromise like morals and just, you know, who they are. My point is that XRP going under $1 is great. XRP going back to 20 cents is not great. It going to 80 cents, 70 cents at like the bottom of the bear market. Like we look back a year later and we're like, that was the bottom of the bear market. It makes sense that XRP went to 70 cents. It going back to 20 cents is a problem. That's a problem. That's a big problem. That's like Bitcoin going back to like 20,000. Like that is a problem. I would begin to become extremely concerned about the entire future trajectory of all crypto. If Bitcoin went back down to around 20,000 and stayed there for even a couple of days, I'd be very concerned. Anyways, smart money plays smart money games, though. And that can still happen. So the earlier analysis still applies, right? Okay, so they were talking about the one. And yes, the major reason I found still looks like FUD confidence collapse. Not a confirmed exploit. Reports are, here we are, Zach XBT, allegations that insiders control over 90% of lab effective float, plus concerns around over-the-counter deals, hidden unlocked vesting schedules, that's what we just went over with tokenomics, and market making manipulation claims. So it sounds like there's actually been some big stories, maybe by somebody like Zach XBT is one of those people who's big on putting out big stories about crypto and stuff like that, and he can really get people riled. I'm not saying he's wrong. It's good to have people like that in the space. I don't follow him close enough to know if I agree with everything he says, but people who are taking an investigative journalist kind of approach to some of these things can expose a lot of stuff, and I think that's a positive overall. So I double-checked the contract. The lab token is on BNB chain. The crash did not appear to be confirmed hack or exploit. That's good, because once that happens, people pretty much look at humanity or something. They lose complete faith in it. Very few things have the ability to come back from exploits and hacks, and it depends on what happens. The bigger issue is trust crisis around insider control allegation. Here's how we can make this all really simple without going really far. Sentiment could also be called confidence. When the market sentiment and confidence goes away, then you're done, right? And it might bounce, and some people might bounce the coin a little bit. It might go from $1 to $3 to $4, but once sentiment overall is gone, you're going to have a lot of marketing and work to get people back to bullish, to get something back to like $30. And for most people, it's just not even going to be worth trying. Like, they're just not even going to try to do that. It's a lot easier to just launch a new coin or pick a new coin and run it up than try to rebrand the image of a coin that's basically already failed. All right. And this is where we come into the news, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to kind of just scan quickly and then maybe bow out a little bit on the news, just because the real reason for it is because I feel like you guys are tapped out. Who's tapped out? If there's one thing I've always been accused of, it's being able to have very long stamina for things like deep conversations and this kind of research and stuff like that. And I know not everybody has that stamina, so what can I say? The SEC may propose major crypto rules this month. Coinbase got UK authorizations. A lot of the news is going to be relevant from yesterday, so we can move a little quickly. Kraken is trying to become a bank. Yep, they're trying to get bank license, I believe, in Lithuania. Vanguard is hiring digital asset leaders. Yep, we read that. Securitize is down 40% after its SPAC debut. We read that yesterday. Tokenized equities hit a record month. If I go over anything too quickly, just ask, and I'll let you know. And this tokenized equities hitting a high record is very much around the SpaceX IPO, because a lot of people were tokenizing that, and people wanted early access, especially in cryptocurrency. Stregaheart says 28,000. Let's go. Exactly. For the people who didn't get a piece of the pie, there you go. And there's all kinds of speculations about, like, could MicroStrategy get liquidated if we go to a certain amount of price, which means there is a target. They've said that the way that they're structured with their debt, that there is no target that would liquidate them, at least completely. I'm sure there's some liquidation risk. But would big players want to shake that money out of them? And would some big player in the world who's got enough money that money doesn't matter anymore for political gain and stuff want to just like destroy somebody who's very positive on Bitcoin because they can't control it or something and they don't have all the Bitcoin? Maybe. That could be. They could have like a very personal political interest in seeing Michael Saylor get washed is what it is, right? And they could make it happen. And honestly, I think that's the catalyst that you would almost have to have in order to get to something like a $20,000 Bitcoin right now. Tether invested $20 million in this Mercado Bitcoin we were talking about. Is a centralized exchange in the Latin market, and $20 million to Tether is like 50 cents to you. Former Tether investment chief is reportedly looking to sell part of his stake. Again, it's a part of his stake, not his entire stake. Binance launches a BTC covered call yield product. This is one of those ones where it's like, I could really get into it and figure it all out. When it comes to puts and calls and stuff like you would have in your traditional stock market, I'm just not interested. I'm not interested on trading BTC in that manner. I do generally understand what they're talking about. I'm just not interested in that. Strike launched volatility-proof Bitcoin-backed loans. I think this is cool. This is the type of thing where you need to see a lot more of it done and it hashed out, and that we just have better and better ideas about ways of doing Bitcoin-backed loans. Because if you have a loan on your house, like say you just go to a bank and you get a mortgage, like you can't, your mortgage doesn't get liquidated. Now there is like your loans can get called in and all of a sudden they want all of their money right now. But that is very, very far and few between for the regular person. Maybe a big business person with huge money loans, the bank's going under, they need that money right away. They're going to call in the loan and see if they can get that money. Very different than Bitcoin, literally having a loan and your Bitcoin getting liquidated. That just sounds crazy to me. I don't know if I'd really want to get into that. EDX markets raised $76 million. And again, just like Michael Saylor, if you have a lot of market of Bitcoin-backed loans, and if Bitcoin goes to a certain price, 90% of all of them are getting liquidated, and then now you have an incentive to shake that Bitcoin out of certain people's hands. That's totally different, right? EDX markets raised $76 million. There you go. We talked about EDX markets, right? Let's go back. Let's bounce back. Oh, look, EDX markets. It's almost like we cover this kind of stuff, and we find it organically even without the news. Bonk DAO was hit by a $20 million governance attack. This one is for Stregaheart. If you need me to, strike a heart, I'd be glad to in like a direct message or in the main hangout explain that more to you if you need me to. Zcash jumped as developers near a proof agent hitting counterfeit bug. We talked about this yesterday. Nobody really knows how much money or how much Zcash was minted because of its privacy layers, right? Shielded pools. Me and Prime Minister were going back and forth about it. Shout out to the Prime Minister. I wish he was here today to tell me more about Boardwalk and Yoink. I love having people in the community who I almost like rely on to be a part of a conversation because they have expertise. Imagine when this community blows up, because it will at some point, at least blows up compared to what we are right now. And we have like almost like a round table of top people, especially in our members only stream. It's going to be like a round table of people with very niche specialized, and then people learning, which is fine. And we're going to be able to really hit narratives and things from some really advanced levels. Man, I look forward to that. Let's go. I'm going to continue to build. I'm going to continue to show up 6 days at least a week and really push the envelope to make that happen. Anyways, my point is that nobody knows how much money Zcash, or how much Zcash, right, which equals money, was minted. And then we don't know how far down the line it is before we find out. What if they just have a great narrative and they go back to normal? And then something like top of the bear market, somebody's got like an insane amount of Zcash, they just dump it all. That could be such a huge problem. And they're not even going to be able to, here's the problem with it. They're not even going to be able to figure out what the heck happened. They might see the wallet and all the coins in it, but they're probably not going to know how the heck they got all those coins. It's going to be weird. Kraken won a 22 million arbitrage against Mazars. Not really worth going over, but it's a push for the Clarity Act, that's for sure. CFTC charged a North Carolina man over alleged $14 million fraud. Has to do with this Argent Capital Management. It's a money management thing where they swindled about 60 people out of $14 million using a commodity pool that traded futures, options, and crypto. Basically, this Vernon guy lost $8.6 million trading the participants' money and misrepresented his performance. He lied. He traded their money, he messed it up, he lost the money, and then he lied about it. So that makes him a fraud. Bitcoin and XRP are drawing interest for Japanese firms. Weakening yen pushes corporate treasuries to diversify with things like Bitcoin and XRP. The Japan market and those companies and treasuries and all of these things are very bullish on a lot of cryptocurrency. You just see that over and over, and predominantly XRP and Bitcoin, which is good for people who own XRP like me and Smiley. Gemini is pushing into stock trading. Gemini, I mean, here's what we're watching. Coinbase set the pace. Kraken decided they wanted in on it. Makes sense. Kraken's been around for forever. I'm sure they have deep pockets. They've been doing well. Good for Kraken. I have nothing against Kraken other than they may or may not, you know, have an account of mine from many years ago that may or may not be worth millions of dollars. Very sad story. Anyways, but Robinhood coming into the story is like, all right. I guess we can let Robinhood into the conversation. But Gemini too? Come on. We can't have Kraken or Coinbase, Kraken, and Robinhood all be super apps doing the same thing, and then have Gemini a super app. How many super apps can you have? If you have too many super apps, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a super. And then what? X is going to come in and be a super app too? Too many super apps. I just don't see it. Somebody's not going to make it, and I think it might be Gemini and Robinhood. Right. I don't trust the track record of Robinhood like at all. Crypto miners and AI infrastructure are still crossing over, right? So there is some crossover here. Highlighted Galaxy delivering 133 megawatts of critical IT load to CoreWeave as Helios Bitcoin mine turns into an AI infrastructure hub. So miners turning AI infrastructure. That is the story there. And we're going to cap it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Today's show is a great example of why what we do pairs so well with DeFi gaming. It pairs so well with DeFi gaming because it just gave you guys so much information. Like so much information to the point where I feel like the average person could rewatch this stream and still just be like, whoa, that was a lot of information. I do this every day, and for me, it was a lot of information. So don't feel bad if you feel that way. That's why DeFi gaming really breaks things up. It really kind of gives us a minute to chat and collectively get ourselves together at least especially me, who's kind of leading the charge here, and has to keep you entertained. Are you not entertained? Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We've actually been doing really well. Like, we just hit 1,500 subs, and we're already up like another 8 subs, which is pretty significant for the fact that I haven't really been putting out any long form content recently, or haven't really been putting out any reels. I think that lab reel just continues to carry both when it pumps and when it dumps. People tend to search lab, right? What the heck is it? Striker Heart says, thanks for the stream. Absolutely, thanks for being here. Melissa says, have a great night, guys. I have an early day. I was wondering if you were still here. We are kind of wrapping it up. We're in the underground hangout section of the show, which is the end of the show where we chat. So if you're in a hurry to get out of here, it's a good time to cut. Thank you for all you do, Melissa, and I will see you on the next show, because I can always count on you to be here, which is a pretty awesome feeling when you do something like this and you just kind of going live on the internet. You never know exactly what you're going to run into or who's going to care that you show up. And hopefully all the effort and time put in as the market heats up. We've done so many live streams on so many narratives, try to have good looking thumbnails. Hopefully that translates into people watching videos, and I think it will. But good things just take time. And just like Jeff Bezos poured 20 years into Amazon before anybody cared about Amazon, just like the Lifer live streamed constantly, if not every day, for 5 years. He's been live streaming without ever missing a day, traveling all over the world, including Singapore and Dubai. Before it really ever paid for him. It wasn't like he streamed for a year and then was a millionaire, right? That didn't happen, right? He had to put in serious work, and even as somebody who's really made it in crypto, he still puts in serious work every day. Big respect to the Lifer and the Lifer community. I'm very lucky to be able to call somebody like the Lifer a friend. Anyways, my point is that I'm here and I'm grinding. I don't know why when this game comes on I start talking about personal development and like pushing yourself and grinding and believing in yourself. I don't know why that happens, but it does. I guess you can come to count on it at this point. Striker Heart says, night everybody. He's cashing out. Thank you for being here. And yeah, we're just going to keep going. And my hope is that a lot of these different videos that I make are going to start catching a lot more attention when the attention comes back, right? When the masses come rolling in, which is probably, in all honesty, even if I'm being bullish, at least a year away, if not a year and a half to 2 years away. So I got a lot of time to grind, figure things out, and build. Bear markets are for building. I've heard the Lifer say that many times, and it's very true. He doubled his, online presence and trading Discord in a bear market. So that just goes to show you can build in a bear market. And I really feel like the people over the next year who I see around in general, those are going to be your winners, because they're the people who are paying attention, who are early. It's like people who were talking about Bitcoin in different forums and stuff like that in 2014, 2015. All of those people, most of them made an insane amount of money. Probably not as much as they wish, knowing how it turned out, right? But that's a totally different topic. When you have a guaranteed success, you go all in. Like, you sell everything, houses and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, some people definitely do that. Mega is down. I'm getting my Coinbase alerts as I try not to wreck myself here before I actually get to hit 1,000. All right, hit 1,000. Come on, let me out of here. There we go. Once you hit 1,000 for this, I get the free item, free NFT for my farm. It doesn't really matter much, but that's when the game actually gets even slightly fun here. So then it's like crash out, get to 100,000 points, but I'm not going to do that. Thank you everybody for being here. Let's see what I get before I hop off. And you can imagine how much commitment it is to stream for like 2 hours every night. It's 11:30, which means 8:30, 9:30, 3 hours. I'm so tired I can't even do basic math anymore. We've been streaming for 3 hours, guys. I hope you found some value. I hope my 3-hour stream is enough for you to smash that like button. Let's say that. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, if you're rewatching this and you made it all the way to the end of the video for whatever reason, drop a comment that says, I made it all the way to the end, because MVP, you are committed. With that said, stay underground, stay crypto, think long term, never financial advice. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, which is, let me make sure before I misspeak, Thursday. So we got another day before DeFi Friday. Boy, do I love DeFi Friday. I think we're going to go ham on some sunflower land and some different things, and see how everybody feels tomorrow. Catch you guys in the next one. Underground Crypto out.